again. We're hacked.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, August 23rd, 2018. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1062.
This is No Agenda.
Paying off porn stars for pleasure and profit, and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, from what I can tell, there's no porn stars around here. And the Zephyr's not by yet. We're ahead of the game. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
That's right. We're rocking. We're ahead of the game. We're good to go, which is good because I got to get out on time today.
Okay.
I'm going to Chicago.
The Toddlin town.
Chicago. Yeah, Tina's been there all week with a big Ronald McDonald House Charities conference, annual conference. Living it up.
Nice time of year to be in Chicago. August.
She says it's beautiful.
Well, it can be.
She says it's absolutely stunning.
Well, good. Well, get over there. Go now.
Okay, bye.
I'll take over the show.
Yeah, just hit these buttons. What could possibly go wrong? I'm so sore today.
What are you mad about?
I went wake surfing with the former New York banker on his boat yesterday.
Okay.
You know, when the former New York banker calls and says, "Hey, it's Wednesday. Let's go out on the boat." That's a yes.
Sure.
And of course, you know, we're friends, so we hang out. It's just, you know, fun to mess about on Lake Lake
Charles.
Travis. No, Lake Travis.
Travis.
Travis, yes. But of course, we really only want one thing.
A beer.
No, we want info. We want intel. We want deets. We want stock tips.
Yeah.
You ready for it?
I'm all ears. Here we go.
He has a January 200 put. No, wait, it wasn't a 100. Shoot. Look at the puts.
Oh, great. I love it.
I suck.
Had a great wine last night. Oh, really? What was it? I don't remember.
He has I got it now. He has a January 200 put on Tesla.
January 2019?
Yes. $200 put.
Huh.
Now that's a stock tip, I think.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a stock tip.
I don't know anything about options.
Stock tips too. You know, it doesn't really.
I don't know anything about options.
I know enough to.
Even after you explained it to him, you're like, yeah, I'm going to stay away from that. That sounds like something Adam could get very hurt by.
I don't know. I mean,
that's all I ever hear is guys who do options.
I keep thinking Tesla's a goner, but you know, he had another. If you remember, he said that in March.
Yeah, he said 250. The 250 he called, and it made it to 250.
Well, it was a pretty short-lived 250.
But here's the thing. First of all, he says the real problem is, well, you know, this taking the company private is not true. That's not what Musk was trying to do. And I think everyone's been misinformed by this. What he wanted to do is he wanted to take all of the shareholders, basically delist the company, not take it private, but delist it. And the problem
is a lot different. He said take it private in his tweet.
I'm just telling you what the banker said. I think beyond the tweet in some interview, that's what he was talking about. He wanted to effectively delist the stock to protect the shareholders from the shorts.
What?
And he also doesn't want to report as often as he does. But of course, you know, when
you're a public company, you have obligations.
Yeah, but when you have like more than 100 shareholders, you also have to report as if you were a public company.
This is true. At least have to report to them.
Yeah, and I think there is some disclosure. Anyway, but the banker says Tesla is no way, and mainly because everyone's looking at Tesla. Yeah, they're doing interesting things, but when you see what Porsche and BMW and Mercedes and all these companies are coming out with, it's going to blow Tesla out of the water.
Oh, you know, I've heard stuff like this before about some, you know, it just reminds me of the days of the first Star Wars movie. And Disney comes along and says, you know, we can do better than that. And they says, that stinks. We can do better than that. We're going to show them how to do it right. And then they came up with the movie The Black Hole, which was one of the worst movies ever.
Well, it's a little different from building a car, which I think there is some expertise.
Something that you never see on the road. I mean, they're all over the place.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just passing on the information.
It sounds like, I don't know. Well, I am in agreement with the fact that Tesla is a goner in some way, shape, or form at the long haul, because it really relied on the government subsidies to do its thing.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Well, regardless, whether he delists, takes it private, or stays public, if Elizabeth Warren has anything to do with it, it'll be a very different situation.
Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren unveiling a shocking new proposal that would nationalize every major business in America. The new legislation, called the Accountable Capitalism Act, would constitute the largest seizure of private property in human history. So what would it do to our economy? What would it look like with the government in charge?
You're playing the Onion.
No, this is not the Onion.
It has to be. I've never heard this.
This just came out. This is actual network news. I have not looked at the legislation yet, but on the plane I will. You better believe it.
Largest seizure of private property in human history. So what would it do to our economy? What would it look like with the government in charge of our largest corporations? Let's ask the CEO of Walzer Wealth Management, Rebecca Walzer. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. What's your immediate reaction to this idea that all of a sudden the government would nationalize all these companies?
It would be like, what? Like you just did. That's what it should be.
Well, I'm glad that she's bold enough to actually tell us exactly what she wants, because now we can call a spade a spade. This is definitely socialism, because socialism is public ownership of companies where all the profits are actually redistributed to stakeholders instead of shareholders.
Yeah, let me just break down the bill for you, and then we can let you pull it apart. So this is what Elizabeth Warren says, because as you point out, she's being direct. She's being blunt about saying, I want socialism. The Accountable Capitalism Act restores the idea that giant American corporations, she writes, should look out for American interests. Corporations with more than $1 billion in annual revenue would be required to get a federal corporate charter. She says the bill also would give workers a stronger voice in corporate decision-making at large companies, and employees would elect at least 40% of the directors to address self-serving financial incentives in corporate management.
Noodle Boy will be pleased.
Yeah, so, this is like how San Francisco's run.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Of course,
yeah. Poop.
And the result is always poop. Yeah. That's a Hail Mary as far as if true. And I haven't read the legislation or the proposed legislation.
No, she's off the deep end.
But that's a Hail Mary. It's like, I'm going all in on this Democrat socialist thing, and because it could work. Well, I
think there's an element of delusion that seems to dominate the Democrats on a daily, and it keeps increasing to me. And I think.
Not just Democrats. I have an actual right-wing unhinged clip for us.
Well,
later.
I'm sure there's plenty of right-wing unhinged right-wingers. They've been that way for a long time. But this kind of delusion is a bubble where you're in it and you see this Cortez woman, and then you say, well, maybe everyone is going that way. Maybe I can outdo them.
Oh, you mean AOC, Cortez, Ocasio-Cortez?
Alexandria.
Yes. Well, yes. I think you're right. It's like, hey, that worked for her. I'm just as pretty. Newsflash. Newsflash. Elizabeth, you're not.
You're not just as pretty.
You do not have the same characteristics that made her successful. So far.
Yeah.
Well, I will let you. Sunday I will have an analysis of this. This bill.
Well, it's going in. Let's face it, no one's going to do that in a million years.
Well, what it does is it takes Elizabeth Warren out of everything.
I think she took herself out already a couple of different ways. She took herself out with the poor dead girl up in Iowa.
Yeah.
I think. I have that clip since you brought her up.
Yeah. Let me see.
This is Elizabeth Warren on the Tibbetts, the Molly Tibbetts murder.
I want to get in here because a very important story in the news that has to do with Molly Tibbetts, the young woman in Iowa who was murdered, her body believed to be found yesterday. A person has been charged with it. This person is an undocumented immigrant. Mike Pence and the president have suggested the immigration laws need to be stronger so that people like this man who is accused of this murder were not in the country. Your reaction?
I'm so sorry for the family here, and I know this is hard, not only for the family, but for the people in her community, the people throughout Iowa. But one of the things we have to remember is we need an immigration system that is effective, that focuses on where real problems are. Last month, I went down to the border, and I saw where children had been taken away from their mothers. I met with those mothers who had been lied to, who didn't know where their children were, who hadn't had a chance to talk to their children. And there was no plan for how they would be reunified with their children.
It's like she goes right to the Democrat talking points.
Yeah, that's what you do.
But unfortunately, they're lousy talking points, and I don't think she realizes that.
No.
By the way, I do have a clip of the Molly Tibbetts clip since I brought it up. This is just a very short clip because I just thought there was something kind of like puzzling about this story.
Molly Tibbetts' alleged murderer shuffled into the courtroom in silence, wearing a prison jumpsuit and headphones for Spanish translation.
Mr. Rivera, you have been charged with murder in the first degree.
24-year-old Christian Bahena Rivera is originally from Mexico. Federal officials tell us he's an undocumented immigrant. According to the affidavit, Rivera told investigators he followed Tibbetts as she was jogging in Brooklyn, Iowa, July 18th. When Tibbetts said, "I'm going to call the police," he panicked, got angry, then his memory, quote, blocked until he remembered finding Tibbetts in his trunk, bleeding from the head. He says he left her body down this road in a cornfield.
Okay, what are you not liking about that?
Well, I'm not disliking it, but does this guy just spill his guts immediately to the first cop that comes around, and he comes up with this crazy story, and I just found her in the trunk. I don't know.
I blacked out.
Maybe somebody else put her there. Because I was blocked. Meanwhile, Tibbetts, a jogger, runner, why didn't she just run away from the guy?
No, that's easy for you to say. Who the hell knows? I don't know what the situation was. Don't say these things.
I don't either. We don't. That guy's not going to tell us.
No.
But I just thought it was a horrible situation, and I think there's some points to be made for Trump's approach.
Well, the thing that bothers me is undocumented immigrant. It's just bull. It's an illegal immigrant. I know humans are not illegal, but he's here illegally. That's what it was. Undocumented immigrant. I do not like this.
Well, I agree with that. The news media is just they've sold out to the thought police.
Yes, they have.
Yeah. Well, that's what we prove on a daily basis.
Since you brought up immigration,
one of them shows.
Yeah, since you brought up immigration somehow, I'll just take that. Since Elizabeth Warren brought it up, this was extremely weak. Couldn't believe that they did this. Let's make sure ICE looks really good. ICE is important.
A man authorities believe is the last Nazi war criminal living in the United States has been arrested and deported to Germany. President Trump ordered agents to remove 95-year-old Jakiv Paliv from his home in Queens, New York. Justice Department officials say Paliv was an armed guard at a death camp in Poland and lied to U.S. immigration officials when he came here in 1949, saying he was a farm worker. He has denied being a Nazi collaborator. U.S. officials say his deportation has been held up for years because of Germany's reluctance to take him back, citing lack of evidence and citizenship questions.
It's a double whammy. We get to implicate Germany, and look how important ICE is. Ooh, yeah.
Well, I don't think that's the way that story went. And then that particular story, where'd you get that? It almost sounded like Jeff Glor.
Could be. I don't know where I got it from.
I have the same story done differently.
Okay.
And in this story, at least they don't blame Trump. This is those Trumps standing over the guy. Get him out of here. You're fired.
Well, you see, I thought exactly differently. I thought that this was launched by ICE, probably, with or without knowledge of the president, to show how important the work is that they do.
ICE wasn't even mentioned in the story.
Yeah, well, okay, the video, you see ice jackets everywhere. Let's put it that. Yeah,
all right. Okay.
Let's play your version. I'll play your version. Let's see what it is.
The United States has the last known Nazi suspect in the country to Germany after he lived in the U.S. for almost 70 years. The government believes that Yakiv Palij served as a guard at a concentration camp in Poland during World War II, which he concealed in order to enter the U.S. in 1949. Federal agents carried the 95-year-old from his home in Queens, New York this morning in a wheelchair. The head of Nazi investigations in Germany said no arrest warrant had been issued for him there.
We have to wait to see whether there will be a new evaluation or whether new evidence appears to underpin the suspicion. With all Nazi crimes, we have tremendous difficulties to solve them. Because they date back so long, the situation on site has changed.
A judge had ordered Palij to be deported 14 years ago, but until now, Germany and other European countries had refused to take him.
What was interesting about the story is that I forget which newspaper had the headline that he was armed guard in Polish death camp.
Well, I think that this story was instigated by the Republicans, hoping to get the reaction it got from me.
Yeah.
Which is, if this guy, a guard at one of these camps, is so guilty and has to be shipped out of the country to be tried in Germany, even though they have no evidence against them. What about it?
Yeah, I got you.
What about George Soros? Why isn't George Soros being shipped off to Germany?
Are you saying he was a prison guard?
He was worse. He admitted to being in the SS, and he's one of the guys that got people to give up their jewelry and stuff and put it in a pile before they got on the boxcars. As far as I know, that's what he did. That's what he said he did.
I have the clip. Let me see. Where was this?
And I think that this whole thing was set up to get that thought to get into the public mainstream. I just put it in there, but we don't have that kind of, the mainstream media is not going to do it.
Here, I have the clip.
It was actually probably the happiest year of my life. Happiest year of German occupation. For me, it was a very positive experience. It's a strange thing, because you see incredible suffering around you, and in fact, you are in considerable danger yourself. But you're 14 years old, and you don't believe that it can actually touch you. You have a belief in yourself, your belief in your father. It's a very happy-making, exhilarating experience.
Well, you didn't go into the details.
But that's all I have. But it's all about context, obviously. Yeah, okay.
He loved it.
Okay.
So why is he floating around anyway? That's what I thought this story was about. It was like a way to slip that in.
Okay. That's a take. I like it. Well, staying in Euroland then, just so we can, because we're going to get to all the other stuff in a minute. There's a new term which has been in play for about 14 days, and now it's really ramping up. Headlines in the United Kingdom of Gitmo Nation East. No deal. It's now known as a possible no deal Brexit. And because there's no deal Brexit, we have to scare you, says Sky News.
For 2 years now, Theresa May has promised that Brexit means Brexit, that Britain's taking back control of laws, money and borders. But what we've seen is indecision, infighting, resignations and rebellion. So what if this headline was true and Britain does leave the European Union without a deal? How would that affect everybody in Britain?
After all, this is an island nation. Reliance on the...
it's a little long, this clip, but I love how they're scaring people over very small, common things that you will have to live without if there's a no-deal Brexit.
Flow of trade in and out of the country. So even if we continue to get our flowers tariff-free from Holland, there's no guarantee that customs officials on the other side of the channel will do likewise for our goods.
The guy is actually walking in the shot with a bouquet of flowers to accentuate his point.
And our services, and that ultimately is the crux of the matter. Theoretically, life could just carry on as it has done in the past, but there's no domestic legal obligation for it to do so if we leave the EU without any kind of a deal. That means lots of uncertainty, which is why businesses are likely to cut back on investment and why the pound is likely to take another tumble, with implications for everything we buy.
And by the way, when the pound tumbles, having lived in the UK, everybody gets pissed off for one reason and one reason only. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
Vacation is more expensive.
Ah, yes. That would
they hate that because they've always had this pound, which was
the pound's usually $1.50, $1.60.
Yeah.
Now it's about $1.30, maybe less.
Oh, our holidays in Spain.
No deal poses a huge challenge to the delivery of fresh medicines to hospitals and pharmacists, particularly time and temperature-sensitive products like insulin, crucial to the daily lives of more than 400,000 British diabetics, including the Prime Minister. But almost all of it is manufactured,
she could die,
and imported from Europe. It's among the 75 million medicines that pass back and forth from the continent every month.
No.
And why ministers are planning to stockpile to make sure no one goes short.
What if you're one of the 1.2 million UK nationals living, working or studying on the other side of the channel? Or one of the 3 million EU citizens in the UK?
You might die.
Will you be able to continue?
No!
A lot of work had gone into guaranteeing reciprocal rights for EU and UK citizens. But with no deal, it'll be up to individual countries to negotiate their positions. Don't worry, we're not going to have mass deportations. But people could have to get visas to travel, permits to work, and could face increased bureaucracy to stay on. And there's lots of worry about access to areas like healthcare and benefits. This isn't reality yet, but people are being warned life could get more complicated.
No deal is better than a bad deal was the Prime Minister's mantra before the plans for stockpiles, not just for medicines but for foods too, before the plans to turn a 13-mile stretch of the M20 into a giant lorry park for 2,000 vehicles, before the plans of the Customs Department essentially not to enforce border checks in order to keep traffic flowing, whilst Brexiters argue that all this is the same old scare stories, that they omit that no deal could mean no £40 billion Brexit bill. Negotiators don't want no deal, but by default, or even by accident, it could be where we're heading.
You're going to die. Strategic medicine stockpile. Huh?
Couple of things.
Yes.
I've noticed on LBC, that the talk channel over there.
Yeah. Do you listen to that all day? I can imagine.
No, I don't. I only listen to it sparingly. I listen to Farage once in a while, but most of those shows are they're padded. And the best guy on there who's a Remainer and hates the Brexiteers and is a huge globalist is this James O'Brien. And as far as he's concerned, there should be no Britain. But he's a logician, and he kind of gets these people on and he catches them where they don't have any. If you don't come on there with evidence, well, what's your evidence of this? What's your evidence of that? What's your evidence of this? I've never heard. Do you have any evidence at all? Well, no. I'm in a talk show. I'm not here. I'm not in court.
I'm here for opinions.
So he was grilling some guy, and they were going on and on. Apparently, in Parliament, and I didn't catch the moment. They had a big breakdown of the Conservatives. They all started fighting with each other about a redo.
Oh yeah. Well, isn't that what this is all about?
Yeah, it's all about getting the vote to go again, and which is, of course, very predictable based on the previous activities we've seen with the EU and how they managed to do this when people reject their ideas. Redo is always in the works, and O'Brien's a big promoter of this, of course. And it's just a matter of time. I don't see how they're going to get around it because Farage. I blame Farage for the whole thing.
Because he stepped out. He stepped back.
He stepped out of the way.
He took a knee.
I've seen this happen. This happens in American businesses all the time, where you got some young entrepreneur starting up some company, and then he feels obliged. Oh, geez, I made all this. I'm doing pretty well. Let me just kind of step aside and give it to a professional.
Yeah.
And they do that, and the company folds because it was them.
Yeah. Look at Steve Ballmer taking over from Bill Gates.
Well,
it wasn't until they kicked that guy out that they start to get their crap together again. The way I see it.
I don't think that's the best example.
Not a best. Okay.
The better example would be Adam Osborne and Osborne Computers stepping aside and putting some guy in there, or Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Yeah, I was going to say Steve Jobs.
Scully.
Although he didn't really step aside,
he was kicked out.
And it's
beside the point.
And we're only.
It's just that.
Go ahead.
You got a guy like Farage leading the way and making something happen that would not have happened. I think most people can agree on that.
Right.
Yes, there was other people involved. Boris Johnson and others were pushing the idea. But if it wasn't for Farage, I don't think the Brexit would have occurred. And then as soon as it happens, he takes a victory lap. Yeah. The job's not done. They're not out.
If he had listened to us, because we said before and right after the Brexit vote that there would be a do-over. It's their culture in Europe.
Yeah.
It's what they do. It's what they did with France, with the Netherlands, with Ireland.
Spikes the football.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Now he's trying to get back into it, but it's too late. It's over. They're going to have this do-over, and they're going to be back in the EU, and that's going to be a...
I think there's an additional little problem that the UK may see, although it's not mentioned in this report. The EU, they have become really unhinged, and I'm sure it has to do with the tariffs, and they're all afraid about what Trump is going to do to them. So let's be more independent from those guys.
Something that you probably would never have seriously thought had been talked about just a couple of months ago, but now proposals for an alternative to the SWIFT banking system becoming a legitimate discussion topic in the EU. German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas has floated the idea of an independent system, free, crucially, from US pressure.
Where the US crosses red lines, we, as Europeans, must counterbalance, as hard as that is. It is indispensable that we strengthen European autonomy by creating payment channels that are independent of the United States, a European monetary fund, and an independent SWIFT system.
So SWIFT, first off, what does this stand for? Good for a pub quiz, this. It's the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. Anyway, it's a global payment network designed to secure transactions between banks and encompasses 11,000 financial institutions and 200 countries. SWIFT claims political neutrality, crucially, but of late it's apparently caved into American pressure. Let me tell you about that. Case in point, after Washington withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal and then reimposed sanctions against Iran, SWIFT was left with a pretty stark choice: cut off Iranian banks from its network by early November, or face an asset freeze, travel bans and restrictions to do business in America. Now, a German MP from the AfD party thinks although the foreign minister's call does make sense, it's come at the wrong time.
The one who controls finance controls everything. So in this sense, the strategic goal of Mr. Maas making Europe and Germany more independent by creating its own financial system, it's a strategic goal that has its right to exist. But please, we have to take into account possible reactions from the United States. I think they won't be fond of this idea. And we cannot afford to worsen the ties with the United States at the same time when Europe itself has deteriorated his relations with Russia. So the boldness of Mr. Maas is not in the right time and not at the right place.
I'll say.
Well, the problem is now is once you show your hand.
Yeah.
You got now that we have, and they're not going to do it. They just showed their hand.
We could just say, "Oh, hey, you're cut off."
We plan for this. In other words, it's like one of those things where you just lay in wait with a system or something better that you roll out and crush them when they finally.
I hope it happens.
When they finally bite the bullet and do this.
I want them to do that. That would be hysterical.
They're going to do it. There's no doubt about it.
Watch Bitcoin spike when they do that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it'd be funny if they just say, okay, we're adopting Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. It's the International Payment Network. Bitcoin.
Well, that was dumb. Good catch.
You don't hear about this stuff anymore in America. That's why I'm happy we're doing a little bit of news.
Because they're too busy discussing what we're going to start talking
about.
Porn
stars!
Before we get into that, I do have a preliminary clip I want to play.
Uh-huh.
We're going to talk about Cohen and Manafort for people who like to be teased. I I want to play Dershowitz was on.
Oh, God, I got this one. Yes, he was on.
Do you have a longer version? What's the length of mine?
Which
mine is Dersh on campaign finance. It is, I don't know how long.
Let me see. You've got you've got 45 seconds. I've got. Hold on, where is he here? Mine is. Oh no, I have much longer. It's the argument.
Why don't you play the long version, and then if it doesn't incorporate what I have, then I'll back you up.
So to set it up, whenever this show, you and me, and everybody else within the sound of my voice have legal questions about constitutionality, etc., Dershowitz is the guy. And
let me preface this. Dershowitz is a left-wing, borderline communist, extremely intelligent, Harvard professor in the law schools. I think he's been at a lot of these different schools. Yeah. He is always kind of the epitome of an analyst, and he never really likes Trump, but he keeps seeing what's going on around this president, and it looks like I think he takes the same kind of hit we do. Oh, yeah. It looks like he's defending Trump when he's not. He's just saying, hey, you guys are full of crap.
So the Cuomo kid, and by the way, have you seen his setup now? People are noticing it with the big head in the middle and the two heads on the side.
Yes, I don't like it.
It's creepy. It is wrong. It is just wrong from a television perspective.
It's wrong. Look, it looks creepy. I agree. It's creepy.
It's just creepy.
It's the big head.
The big head in the middle.
So I got mine from an MSNBC. I think it was Katie or somebody.
This is the Cuomo kid in the middle with a CNN lawyer, Jennifer Roger, and it doesn't say where she's from. She's just a CNN analyst lawyer, and Dershowitz. And here is their combo.
We have never heard someone of the standing of Michael Cohen connected to any kind of politician, let alone the president of the United States, stand in open court and say, yeah, I committed some felonies, but he directed me to do it. What is the impact from your perspective?
Well, now, just so we understand, at the end of this trial, Manafort apparently, and he was convicted
of Cohen. You're talking about Cohen.
Cohen, I'm sorry. Cohen stands up and says, yes, that was an illegal campaign contribution, and I was directed. He didn't say the president.
When lawyers are directed, have you ever had a lawyer that you can direct and tell him to break the law for you?
Yeah, let's just have the good professor explain this.
Well, it's hard to know what the legal
at first the dits
impact would be. I mean, as the professor points out, we're probably not going to end up in court with an indictment against Donald Trump on this, in large part because of the Office of Legal Counsel opinion that a president can't be indicted. But it is unprecedented. I mean, never before has someone stood up, sworn under oath that the president directed them to commit a crime, which means, of course, that the president also has committed a crime. And I don't agree that these laws are vague or there's some reason that this contribution to the campaign, which is clear as what it was, is somehow unenforceable. If the president were not the president, he would be indicted very soon if he hadn't been already.
No, that's not true.
Why?
Any candidate has the right to contribute unlimited amounts to his own campaign. Any candidate, it may sound terrible and it may be terrible, but any candidate has the right to pay hush money to somebody to influence the outcome of the election. The problem is
not
that the
if it's
third
unreported.
person does it. But if that's the next question, is whether it has to be reported. And is that a technical violation? You know how many technical violations the Obama campaign committed? And
this is where he runs into trouble. And I'm not sure why he did this, although it is true for him to. This is what they call whataboutism. So the minute you say this on CNN, the audience, they're trained to think, whataboutism? What about it? They don't even hear what he's saying. I think this is a mistake that he brings this into it.
Well, that's the next question, is whether it has to be reported. And is that a technical violation? You know how many technical violations the Obama campaign committed and every other campaign committed? Failure to report a contribution by the candidate itself is essentially jaywalking. Now, then you have the credibility issue when you have have somebody who himself admits that he is a liar. And remember, as Judge Ellis said, what you have is when you squeeze somebody, when you tell somebody, you have two choices. You can die in prison, or you can give me evidence that we can use against somebody else. The temptation not only to sing, but to compose is very great. And it's so easy just to add a little bit of embellishment saying, and the president directed me to do it. By the way, that is not an admission. That is an accusation.
Why is it an embellishment?
Well, that's the point. It's an easy embellishment to make if it didn't happen. Remember,
but how could it not have happened?
He admits.
But how could it not have happened?
Of course, it's very easy for it not to have happened. It's very easy for it not to have happened. Look,
for
again,
Michael Cohen to have cut deals
but I'm telling
with women that he wasn't involved with, the president was, and the president never knew anything about it. You heard the tape that we broke on this show, right?
The question is not whether the president knew. It's when the president knew, whether he directed him to do it. Now, the president may have had a standing situation with him. Take rid of all of these problems, get rid of all these problems, pay them, and I'll pay you back. That would not be a crime. So a lot depends on the nuances, and that's where you can easily compose and elaborate and embellish. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying that with a presumption of innocence, we don't even have a grand jury indictment here. All we have is a statement and allocution in open court that's not admissible.
But hold on, let's not get carried away with the
idea of naming somebody as an unindicted conspirator is something I complained about even when Nixon was named.
Although, by the way, they were pretty.
There you go. Did we miss anything?
Well, it wasn't quite the same. He was much better on MSNBC. I do want to mention something though, when Cuomo goes off on him.
Do you want to play your clip?
Well, no, I want to talk about the clip you just played.
Okay.
Cuomo says, well, why would he do that? Why would he, why he wouldn't do it other than he was directed to do it. They keep leaving out for some reason they've stopped saying this. The mainstream has stopped calling Cohen Trump's fixer.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Have you noticed this?
Yeah, good catch. Yes.
And fixers, that's what fixers do.
Yeah, let's just review for one quick second. He had sex with a porn star, and whether she was hinting at making trouble or whether he wanted to lock it down, he paid her off. And like many payments, in his case, and I think that's very conceivable, they went through his lawyer, or the lawyers that go between the fixer. That's
what fixers do.
Yeah, so that's it. That's it, and everyone's all jitty, like what?
The general public doesn't have a fixer at their disposal. Yeah. The movie Michael Clayton. I would advise everyone to watch at least once. Michael Clayton is a George Clooney movie, one of his little movies. It got Tilda Swinton the Academy Award for Best Actress.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
This movie is about a fixer and how in a corrupt situation and how he kind of became a good guy in some funny way after they tried to kill him. It's a very, very intense and excellent movie, but it's not, there's no robots and there's no, superheroes. So.
I tried to get a clip of it. I was in the car when I heard it, but they were so excited at MSNBC. I heard one reporter come on the air, I think with Andrea Mitchell.
Oh, they were giddy.
And she's like, I was on Air Force One with the president, and we saw it come through on the news, and of course we can't use our phones or anything, and I was just shaking, and I couldn't believe it, and then I was like, oh my God, it's happening. Please, calm down.
Here's Dershowitz. Then this clip was actually, I picked it up off of CBSN. And CBSN had taken it from MSNBC, and it was done by NBC. But I think this wraps a lot of the thinking up.
The president doesn't break the law if, as a candidate, he contributes to his own campaign. So if he gave $1 million to two women as hush money, there would be no crime. If he directed his lawyer to do it and he would compensate the lawyer, he's committed no crime. The only crime is if a third party, namely Cohen, on his own contributed to a campaign. That would be a campaign contribution. So it's a catch-22 for the prosecution. If they claim that the president authorized him to do it or directed him to do it, it's not a crime for anybody. If Cohen did it on his own, then it's a crime for Cohen, but not the president. This is going to be a very difficult case for the prosecution to make, precisely because the laws on election are so convoluted.
And it's interesting because the term that is being thrown around is the unindicted co-conspirator, which very strangely, or maybe that was on purpose, I noticed this in the news about 2 weeks ago regarding the unindicted co-conspirator of 9/11. So this unindicted co-conspirator word was kind of set up. And it's phrase, and it's very nasty. You know, it's like I like
it. Very good, very well done.
Well, hold on. Just stay on this track for 1 second because I have a quick clip regarding this.
Well, before you do that, I do have 2 follow-up clips to Dershowitz's.
All right, let's do that. Let's do it.
Now, the reason I went to this is one of these CBSN things, and they had these experts. There's experts. And I want you heard what Dershowitz said. Now I want you to listen to I've got this. It's actually the one clip is number 2, but play 1, which is just the beginning. This is a guy's analysis because the CBS had brought these guys in to slam Trump. I want you to listen carefully to what this guy has to say and then tell me if it makes any sense at all.
Keir, what's your assessment of that argument?
Well, the first thing is that when the direction occurred, President Trump wasn't the president. He was a candidate.
Well, how does that makes it even worse? How does that make him guilty?
Why would he be moving campaign finance money around after he was the president? He's already elected. So this is always going to be about him being a candidate.
No, this happened 2 weeks before the election.
He was a candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but even if it happened afterwards, what's the logical sense? Because this is about campaign finance violations. If he's sending money around after he's the president, what's it got to do with the campaign?
But I thought he sent it around 2 weeks before he became president.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why what this guy says is so idiotic. That's the point.
Let me hear it again.
Keir, what's your assessment of that argument?
Well, the first thing is that when the direction occurred, President Trump wasn't the president. He was a candidate.
I'm just not understanding what you're saying. I'm dense.
Okay, I'm saying what you're saying, which is Dershowitz goes on and says when you're running for president, if you're finance, and by the way, Trump made a point of saying I'm going to pay for my own campaign, even though he didn't really fully. If you're spending your own money on this stuff, it's not a campaign finance violation. And then this guy says, well, he was running for president at the time. He wasn't the president. I'm just saying this makes no sense what this guy's analysis is.
It's not really analysis. It's just...
Well, if you want to now listen to the whole thing and tell me, and listen carefully to his 3 points and tell me what he's trying to say here and what does it have to do with anything.
I want to get both of you to weigh in on what we just heard there. Keir, what's your assessment of that argument?
Well, the first thing is that when the direction occurred, President Trump wasn't the president. He was a candidate. The second thing is there aren't charges against President Trump on this issue right now. The third thing is that it's an interesting theory. It sounds to me a lot like this unitary theory of government, this monarchical theory of government, that the president wants to take the position that because he is the president, he has the ability to do things that nobody else can.
Oh, yeah. We're back to that. Okay, good.
The point is that Dershowitz is talking about one thing. This guy didn't hear a word of it.
Oh, no, they lock it out. They lock it out. Probably because Dershowitz said Obama, and whataboutism, can't hear it. It's like the guy, like the undocumented.
Point number 2 was not even a point. It was that there's nothing to. I was just befuddled by the fact that CBSN and the reporter. What doesn't she say? Well, this is what we're talking about. Can you get back to the point? They can't even do that. Okay, you got it now.
Well, it's my understanding that the Cohen thing was this Cohen or now I'm confused. Was it Cohen or Manafort? Hold on. Where am I? Yes. Lanny Davis. He's the, isn't he, who is he lawyer for? I don't know who's a lawyer for who now.
Cohen. We're talking about Cohen. That's Lanny Davis.
Yes. Okay, good. Then I have it.
We're not talking about Manafort at all.
I know.
There's nothing much to talk about.
I know. I got you. I'm confused, but I'm back. Okay, here I am. So Lanny Davis, who of course is a Clinton operative, they had hoped in this prosecution, they had hoped for Cohen to say, Trump knew about the meeting with the Russians that Don Jr. had in Trump Tower. That was what everybody in the news business was expecting. That's what was supposed to happen. Instead, Cohen gets up and says some bull crap about, I committed a crime and he made me do it. But listen to Lanny Davis and listen to his words about something going wrong, which is what we're talking about.
What Donald Trump told him, I'm not allowed to do that. There is a certain complication in that story that we were never able to correct.
See, we're never able to correct. They were trying to manipulate this story.
But I do, to answer your question, know that Michael Cohen has information that would be of interest to Mr. Mueller in his probe of a conspiracy to corrupt American democracy, very similar to the indictment of the 12 Russians. I believe that Mr. Cohen would be able to provide information useful to the special counsel. I won't call it smoking gun information.
Yeah, I think there's a disappointed guy.
That clip, I believe, came from the morning show. And I want to play, since you brought Lanny Davis up, the way the show's going. I have this morning show clip where the CBS people don't know what to do with this guy. He's useless, and it starts off bad and it just gets worse. This is play the Lanny Davis clip morning show.
Cohen's attorney is with us from Washington.
Good morning.
Your client said he made those payments to the two women in coordination with and at the direction of Mr. Trump, implicating the president in a federal crime. Does Michael Cohen have evidence of that?
Look, this is one thing I'd like to do this morning above all, and which is it's not about evidence. It is definitive, indisputable, that Donald Trump's lawyers said in a letter to the special counsel that President Trump directed, the same word that Michael Cohen used in court yesterday under oath, directed Michael Cohen to make illegal payments. It's not a dispute. It's not about credibility. His own lawyers used the word directed. Now, he lied on Air Force One when he said he knew nothing about it, and Rudy Giuliani said he can lie to the American people and it's not a crime, but his lawyers are the witnesses against him that he directed Michael Cohen. There's no dispute on that.
Well, I appreciate that, but I think you can understand it's a pretty explosive allegation to say that the president directed him to do that. And that's why I'm asking about evidence, because the next question then becomes, do you believe the president is a co-conspirator and that he could be indicted?
First of all, I do have to respectfully disagree. When your lawyer states something, that's evidence that your own lawyer is saying that you did something. It's not a dispute. His lawyers wrote the special counsel and said that he directed Michael Cohen to make these payments.
Rudy.
So the answer is yes, he committed a crime. He should be indicted. If he were not president, he clearly would be indicted and jailed for that crime. Whether he can be indicted as president, of course, is not yet decided by the Supreme Court.
But Lanny, as you know, lawyers can say one thing one day and then they're paid to say the opposite thing the next day and say it's just a semantic debate, which is why evidence is so important in a courtroom and in these kinds of political debates. So back to Nora's question. Yes, what lawyers may have said what they said. The game is now different. What evidence is there that your client has that the president actually directed to him with the purpose of fixing this with respect to the election?
Well, actually, with all due respect, when a lawyer makes an admission of fact on behalf of a client, that is dispositive evidence. It's not disputable evidence. And Rudy Giuliani then repeated that statement as another lawyer, saying contradicting the lie that President Trump made on Air Force One when he said he didn't know anything about it. He said the president reimbursed Michael Cohen. So there is no dispute that his lawyers have not taken it back. They wrote it to the special counsel that President Trump committed a crime by directing. And why did he direct? Because he didn't want his signature on the check. Why? Because he was covering up right before the election. Or else why didn't he do it himself?
We've gone insane.
You think?
Oh. And everybody's a lawyer.
This went on, and it was like to watch the crew on the morning show with Dickerson and Nora. They were beside themselves getting this guy to say anything but that same comment over and over.
Because he was hoping to, put the final nail in the coffin, and everyone thought it was going to happen. There's disappointment abound.
Well,
yeah, and
it's a dead end as far as I can tell. I think Dershowitz is right.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Of course he is.
It's a nothing burger.
He paid off a porn star for having sex with him and was embarrassed about it. And he was married, and his wife had just had a kid.
You've actually gotten to the real crux of it. And what they're trying to do is find some criminal thing they can hang on him instead of the moral thing they can hang on him, which they seem to be ignoring. The sex with the porn star seems to be gone by the wayside as something that, hey, this guy is like he's married to this beautiful model and he's having sex with just any old random,
No wonder people are pissed off.
It's like they're not even paying attention. It's a good sex scandal, and they're letting the sex scandal go by the wayside.
But they've learned that doesn't work. We're off to full blown.
That's because they don't concentrate on anything long enough. These Democrats, it doesn't work because they get off of it because that laundry list that we have published of the Trump rotation, they keep jumping from one thing to another. They can't focus on any one thing to really target him.
And by the way, Scott Adams discovered the rotation, and he says, yes, it's the loop. I'm calling it the loop. So no, Scott, this is the Trump rotation. It's a broadcast term, not the loop. The loop.
Was it like the Hyperloop? Is it some way of commuting? The LA chief?
It's the same thing. I mean, he's identified the same thing we have, only we have the correct term.
We also have a lot more on our list.
Yeah, and I wanted to tweet him with the list, but I don't get much further than Cosmic Weenie and .htm. I can't remember what you named it.
We do have
because it's not Trump rotation; it's like Trump insults.
We know there's actually we have a website now, and I'll get you the names.
Please do.
Yeah.
All right. Before we end this, because I'm tired of it, the term unindicted co-conspirator is what will be bandied about, and I think it's a very disgusting term. It's like being pre-dead, It's like precancerous, pre-delisted, all these things. So unindicted co-conspirator. And this is now already the term. You're going to hear it everywhere. And Senator Hirono of Hawaii is already calling for a halt to the confirmation hearings of the Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, Supreme Court Justice to be Kavanaugh.
Yeah, good luck with that.
But listen to she does it right in the beginning.
You announced pretty dramatically today you're actually canceling your scheduled meeting with the U.S. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Tell us why.
The president is an unindicted co-conspirator, and I do.
Now, I listened to this 3 times. This is almost like Laurel Yanny. I think she says unidentical conspirator.
Oh, well, let me listen.
Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Tell us why.
The president is an unindicted co-conspirator, and I...
Now, sometimes I hear her saying unidentified co-conspirator, and
I only hear unindicted.
Tell us why.
The president is an unindicted co-conspirator, and...
I don't hear unidentified. I hear unidentical.
I didn't say unidentified. I said unindicted.
Tell us why.
The president is an unindicted co-conspirator.
No, unidentical. I hear unidentical.
No, she's saying unindicted. Unindicted. She's saying unindicted.
Really?
It's fairly clear to me.
I think it's Yanny Laurel, but it doesn't matter.
Tell us why.
The president is an unindicted co-conspirator, and I do not owe this president the courtesy to meet with his nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, who, by the way, is being nominated because the president expects Justice Kavanaugh, should he make it to the Supreme Court, to basically protect the president's Okole, as we say in Hawaii.
Your colleague on the Judiciary Committee, Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal, he's calling for an actual delay in the scheduled hearing, supposed to start September 4th for Kavanaugh. First of all, is that realistic? You're the minority. The Republicans are the majority.
From the very beginning, we Democrats have called for a delay in terms of the hearing, and we said what's good for the goose is good for the gander, or whatever the saying is, because Mitch McConnell had said with regard to Merrick Garland that we should wait until the election. What does it matter whether it's a presidential or any other kind of election? He held that seat for a year.
Yeah.
So she says, well, I think it's because he's unindicted, and she goes on and on about one thing. And then she says, well, from the beginning, because of the Garland thing.
Yes.
We wanted to stall this all. So was she full of crap about her?
Yes, she's full of crap.
We're asking for a delay until after this election so the American people can weigh in. And so we've called for a delay, but even more so now with what's transpired. We think that it is really important for us to get all of the documents that we need, and what is the all-filed rush to get this person on the Supreme Court? Well, I think the rush is that the president wants somebody on the court who will protect his Okole.
Is it called Hokoli?
Okole, she said. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it's a Hawaiian word. It's like
for butt.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to know what the word is for a show title. I want to know the Hokoli.
We're not going to use it for a show title.
Okay. Well, then I don't need to know. I do have a final whataboutism from one of our producers. He says, so, in 2004, I owned a fine dining restaurant in Missouri. Claire McCaskill's brother was my general manager. She was running for governor of Missouri against Matt Blunt. I found out her brother had embezzled over $12,000 from me. I knew that he knew, and the next day I received a call from a lawyer representing him. The lawyer almost immediately brought up Claire's name, that she would be willing to pay me if I signed an NDA. I did, and she did. Sound familiar? I'm coming out now because of what's happening to Trump. Dems and other GOP have been getting away with this for years, but now, because it's Trump, it's illegal? What a crock. I'm willing to talk about it on the record, says James. How about that?
Let's get somebody. Well,
that would make some noise.
You've heard this story for the first and last time.
The first and last time. Exactly. That's how it goes with the whataboutisms.
Breitbart or somebody. We can get somebody at Breitbart to go over and talk to the guy. Yeah, it's a scam. These guys are full of crap. And this woman with this showboating this thing here because of Trump's, this co-indicted or unindicted
co-conspirator.
Nonsense, or admits that this was a stalling tactic because of the Garland thing from the get-go. So they're not going to stall anybody unless they're really stupid. The Republicans know better. They like this guy that you think is a straw man.
Yeah,
they like this guy, and they're going to push this guy through.
Haole, Haole, Haole.
Haole. That means a white devil.
Oh yeah. That's exactly what I thought it meant. All right, just before we get into our break here, Stevie Wonder played... what?
Unless Stevie Wonder got something to do with this case, because I do have one Manafort clip.
I've known... Oops. Well, let's do Manafort. I got Manafort stuff too, but let's do that after the break.
Okay, we'll do the Manafort stuff second.
This is called a transition into the next block. You with me?
I'm looking for something, yeah.
So Aretha Franklin passed away, as we know. And we're going to have
left no will.
I didn't hear this. She left no will? Really? That doesn't sound like her at all. I'm not going to believe this.
Well, that's what they said.
Who says?
The AP.
Oh, you mean the AP who does stories about the animal cracker
I'm saying
animals?
That she left no will is the official word.
Official word. She left no will. But she's dead. And we'll have a great funeral. Lots of people already scheduled to perform. Nothing like that in show business. Oh, yeah, it's going to be live, worldwide. It'll be like Whitney Houston's funeral. It's going to be fantastic.
Okay.
It'll be great. Stevie Wonder will be there, of course, and The Today Show sat Stevie down and talked about Aretha, and Stevie had some choice words to say.
I've known some time about her condition, and I just prayed that even though the odds were very, 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 very crazy, when you think maybe 1 out of or 2 out of 100, would succeed or would beat this thing. I just feel that all these various diseases that we have and all these things that are happening in the world, in part, is because there are those who don't believe in global warming, don't believe that what we do affects the world, what we eat affects the world, and affects us. And I just hope that people will grow up and grow out of the foolishness and know that we all, by how we think, how we do, how we treat others, we will never unlock the key until we truly let go of the hatred, the bigotry, the evilness, the selfishness. When we do that, then we can unlock some of those things that keep us in this place.
Yeah. Global warming killed her.
Global warming killed Aretha Franklin. All we have to do is unlock the key.
He's getting lunch at Chick-fil-A. The tortillas in the race. Kim Kardashian, Sigourney Weaver, Rush.
R-E-S-P-I-C-T.
They're all jitty.
R-E-S-P-I-C-T.
There's no real conflict.
Resist. We must. Resist. We must.
I think we have the best producers in the universe.
About that, be committed.
There you go. Tom Anonymous. I had to play the whole thing in the show, not just at the end. How good is that?
Dynamite.
And it actually even gave us a little ISO. It's so good.
R-E-S-P-I-C-T.
Beautiful. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C. And C stands for co-conspirator, Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. In the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water. And all the dames, all the knights out there.
Indeed. And in the morning to the troll room, a room full of trolls. We have them at noagendastream.com is where they all congregate on Thursday and Sunday mornings to help with the program as we do it live in real time. No editing. Everything is live, baby. noagendastream.com. Also, thanks to Ponal Geek. He brought us the album artwork for episode 1061. The title of that was Red Dot. We had trouble finding appropriate art for the previous show. We had trouble
naming the right artist on the last show.
No, it was 2 shows ago somewhere.
Oh, it was 2 shows.
Someone's got to set me straight on that so I can fix the show notes.
Yeah.
But this was the warning, no virtue signal, like a railroad crossing, NA. It's an evergreen, but just beautiful. And it's just one of those you're like, yeah, this is the perfect time to use this. And we thank Ponal Geek and all of our artists who diligently upload artwork during the show for the post-production, which takes about 35 minutes at noagendaartgenerator.com. Thank you very much, Ponal Geek, everybody else, for your support and your contributions in kind. It's like it's almost like an illegal campaign contribution. Thank you.
You know who has the scoop on who did what art?
No. Oh.
But he says you won't answer his email.
Oh, then it must be Comic Strip Blogger.
Bingo.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll look for his email. He said, the thing is, he got in this habit of sending me emails and say, confirm you receive. I'm like, no, I hate that. I hate that. No, I'm going to confirm I received your email.
You can click a box on most email senders, and once the email is received or opened, it sends you a notice.
No, because my program says this person wants you to have a return receipt, and I don't click it. I think it's rude. It's rude.
Oh, okay. Well, then
rude. I don't do that. It's rude.
I think there's a workaround. Maybe not. All right. Let's thank a few executive and associate executive producers for show 1064. Or, no, 1062.
I'll take that, yeah.
Sir Husky Bottoms of the Hardwoods starts us off, $334.04. And he has a very long note, but there's some jingle requests at the bottom. I'd recommend you line up. Okay. Through extensive accounting analysis, I want to keep all things in balance in the dark Lord Beelzebub and ensure that my total show donations represented the number of the beast, which is the backstory of the old donation amount. Today brings the total to 2666.66. And as I only assume the only person you would want to appease more than the Dark Lord of Hades is his incarnate son on earth, President Trump. My excitement in the primaries of Trump was that I thought government could use some old-fashioned constructive destruction, being that no matter what happened with the Trump victory, the net effect would be positive for the country. While my vote was cast for the intriguing undercard of a pot-smoking bicyclist, my hope was that at some point the voting populi would evolve from mouth breathers who base their loyalty on either red or blue ties to critical thinking about what truly affects their lives. Alas, I am afraid that the context in which Trump shit show could have ultimately been beneficial to the country as a whole may be waning. The volume of those that frame public opinion is deafening, and I see and hear little critical thinking from anyone in day-to-day interactions. Perhaps he will surprise me, and Jeff Sessions' head will be on a stick in the front lawn as he appears in the Rose Garden with a singlet and war paint. But until then, whatever opportunity there is to effect change with an arrogant man that has the palate of a toddler, I am afraid will be lost. But no gloom and doom here. You guys are awesome. Your brevity in a glass half filled. Trump is at least entertaining.
Did you see him? Did you see him in West Virginia?
No, I missed the West Virginia.
Oh man,
was it a good one?
It's always. I just sit there.
It's always a good one.
I'm just like. I'm laughing like it's a comedian. It's amazingly good.
I'd like to have seen that. Well, it's online, but I'll wait for the next. He does these lots.
Well, I usually record Tucker, and that's usually when he's on, so I always get to see that. I get to see at least 3/4 of it.
Anyway, he says, at least Trump is entertaining. Pence is downright scary, and I can't wait to hear your analysis of the jubilation of the Manafort-Cohen scenarios tomorrow.
That's today.
I would like getting along with my wife, Karma, as well as many attempts at mouth-punching or not landing.
Ooh.
Well, not in the crowd you're hanging with, pal.
Yeah.
And tendinitis is setting in.
Oh, boy.
I doubt it. Jingle request, Charlie Rose, tell me about your sexuality. An old classic.
Is.
Followed by John, that is not a great question.
And then the karma for his wife.
He needs some karma. He needs some wife karma.
No. Yeah, getting along with his wife karma. All right.
Tell me about this sexuality. It's in your DNA.
Great question.
That's not a great question.
You've got karma.
And let me clear up the art attribution for episode 1060. This was the Alex Jones Simpsons art. That was Mike Riley who did it, not Darren O'Neill. So that was the mistake. It shall be corrected and reflected. Apologies.
Yeah, Mike Riley.
Yeah. It's all set now. It's all set now. Now we know.
Riley and O'Neill have some similarities, but yeah, Riley put a, yeah.
It was a glitch.
It was a glitch, man.
Onward.
Did you give? He needs some getting along with his wife, Karma.
I gave the karma.
You did?
Yes.
All right. Marvin Britton, Sir.
No, Chris Eisbach.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris Eisbach. I see what happened. 333 in Cheshire, Connecticut. I'm writing for Job Karma to help my bid for a big promotion, hopefully coming in September. Also, I love the reference to the schism in the fabric of reality, as my first donation in 2010 references the Great Schism, which happened in 1054, not 1062. Look up East-West Schism. This puts me halfway from Baron to Viscount, which has no title. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, Viscount is a title.
Viscount's a title. It's on the list. Great work all around. Keep up the great work, Sir Chris Bach, Knight of the No Agenda Brewers Guild, Baron of Quinnipiac Valley. I think that's how you pronounce it. I can never get it right. I love you guys.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Marvin Britton, Sir Stavert Ironbrand in Bellevue, Nebraska, 333. Greetings from Bellevue, home of Sir Stavert Ironbrand. And my wife, Dame Yano. This is a donation in honor of the dame's birthday, August 24th. Hopefully she's on the list.
No, she's not. She's not. I'm going to put it on now. Go ahead.
We would like a cheap wine and chili dogs back on the night's table for today. Cheap wine and chili dogs back on the night's table for today, since it's been a while. That was the dame's original knighting request. We'd also like to make a douchebag call out to Troy Tice. Douchebag. For the request of my co-worker, Ed Posh. I was recently a regular on the troll room under the handle of Spot the Spook, but work and other things have kept me away. Spook work? He's in Nebraska. Seems unlikely. I still enjoy the show and the sanity it brings. Please play one clip for us. The full Reverend Manning whoop 'em with the Constitution and health karma for Dame Yano and Ed Posh's wife. Okay. Marvin and Peggy.
Hold on. There was a lot of work here. Whoop 'em. Let me see.
It's just a song, I think.
Yeah, I know, but it's like I'm doing a million different things here. I've got most importantly to get the birthday on there. Then I have to have something for the round table.
Yeah.
Where's Manning? Whoop 'em, whoop 'em, whoop 'em. Where the hell is it? Yeah, no. John, I can't find it. The hell?
I'll find it for the end of the show.
That's not acceptable.
Well, some health karma for Dame Yano and Ed Posh's wife would be appropriate.
I'm going to look for this.
You've got karma.
Okay. So stand by, Marvin. Now we have a jingle is needed for this, too. I guess this would swamp anybody.
Newsbomb Akbar.
Duke Nussbaum from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Grand Duke, 31459. Howdy from Fort Worth, Texas. Wait a minute. It says Virginia Beach, Virginia. How can that be?
Yeah, maybe he's there. Maybe he's...
Being a gray hat dude named Ben does have its pros and cons. Today's pros, carne asada. Cons, Texas weather and traffic. We're in Fort Worth, huh? Well, I thought Fort Worth was a little more clear of all that, but apparently not. Big hugs and kisses to Adam, JCD, and my friends at the round table.
Thank you very much. And I have the Manning rap.
Now get out there and whoop Obama's behind. Whooping, 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 whooping with the Constitution. Whooping, 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 whooping with the Constitution. Whooping, 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 whooping with the Constitution. Whooping, whooping, whooping all about behind the Constitution. Whooping.
Now, here's why I couldn't find it.
That's the good part.
Yeah, it's spelled W-H-U-P. Whoop. Not W-H-O-O-P.
Ah.
Got it, though.
And we have, that's our executive producer. We have one associate executive producer, Ryan Hedham in Elk Grove, California, $200.33. My last name is pronounced Hedham. Okay.
Got it.
And my birthday is March 12th, and he appears to be on the birthday
on the list. Yes.
So please add me to the birthday list. I graduated from Berkeley in May and moved to San Francisco around October. So let's drink wine sometime. I tried the Mount Eden Vineyards 2014 Chardonnay a few weeks ago and would highly recommend it. It's a good wine. Also, it's actually a classic. I also have an interesting note about racism and white privilege. Most of the time, people talk about percentages without looking at the actual quantity. For example, 22% of black people are in poverty compared to only 8.8% for the white population, according to the 2017 U.S. Census. People use this to argue for white privilege and how white people have more opportunity. But when you break down the percentages, 9.2 million black people are in poverty compared to 17.3 million whites. There are white people in poverty, too. I bring this up because my dad came from an impoverished background, joined the military, and served for 6 years, then went to law school. He listens to the show with me once in a while and gets very peeved whenever the topic of white privilege is brought up.
Uh-huh.
In the eyes of minorities, he is successful because he is white and privileged, and he thinks it's annoying. Thanks again for everything you and Adam do.
Yes, I'm going to hand out a karma for that. There you go. Thank you.
You've got karma.
So percentages and sheer numbers are hugely different. Anyway, that's our group of executive and associate executive producers for show 1062.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for producing this show at that level.
And you are indeed executive and associate executive producers with credits, as mentioned once again in the newsletter, that are valid and are recognized everywhere credits are used. And we appreciate our a nice little list of execs today, along with our one associate executive producer. We'll be thanking more people $50 and above in our second segment. And remember, another show is coming your way on Sunday.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Whether it's unindicted co-conspirators or not, we've got the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. What?
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
I'm kind of convinced it's Tourette's, a version of Tourette's you have, this recorder flute playing that you do.
Could be.
It's very odd. Very odd. All right, there was just a Twitter alt-right crap storm. Everybody was freaking out about the stupid social justice warriors. They're horrible. I
didn't see this.
We came to a tipping point, I believe. A tipping point with unhinged and ungluedness. Now, we have heard a lot of unhinged and unglued behavior mainly from what we deconstruct as the mainstream media. Pretty much everybody. Right down to Shep Smith of Fox. But he doesn't really come unglued, but he's odd. But this one story, which is really a non-story, and I think I'll tell you about the story first, and then we can listen to just some unhinged going off on it, was from Healthline. Healthline is, I think it's like a WebMD. They've got their doctors, etc.
Is it a WebMD, or is it more like natural news?
No. It's much more like a WebMD.
Okay.
And this article was medically reviewed by Janet Brito, PhD, LCSW, CST. And it's about LGBTQIA safe sex. It is a LGBTQIA safe sex guide. Personally, I feel they should use the full acronym. And if I were to review it as a medical reviewer, I would have disapproved because the acronym is indeed LGBTQIAAPK. So, and I've been tracking this since it was LGB.
What's the K?
Kink.
Kink?
Yes. That is now official. That's an official part of it. Kink. It's like queer. Queer? What's queer? I mean, that's in there.
Oh, we know what queer is, but
no,
kink,
we don't.
No.
I'm sorry.
Kink in the hose? Is that what you're talking about?
You have no idea what queer is, and I don't either, because it's not just gay guys, which used to be queer. No, queer is something else now.
Oh, okay. Well, they all like to read.
I'm not sure how it works, but you can identify as it. Now, so it's a very serious piece, and it does handle all angles of gender fluidity when it comes to copulating and having sex with each other, and lots of different parts and bits, and there's all kinds of things that are relatively new, or at least new to be talked about in public. And they say here why we need an LGBTQIA inclusive safer sex guide. And that's actually, for young children, although I'm not so sure how young you should start with this. And this is inspired by the GLSEN and the Advocates for Youth, who seem a lot more concerned with Donald Trump than with LGBTQIA issues. But in this guide, it says traditional safe-sex guides are often structured in a way that presumes everyone's gender, male, female, non-binary, trans, is the same as the sex they were assigned at birth. Or sex education resources often use videos, pictures, and diagrams as a way to convey important information, though these images and videos have historically failed to reflect or provide information about same-sex and queer relationships. These guides also often unnecessarily gender body parts as being, quote, male parts and, quote, female parts, and refer to, quote, sex with women or, quote, sex with men, excluding those who identify as non-binary. Many individuals don't see body parts as having a gender. People have a gender. And as a result, I know, stay with me. As a result, the notion that a penis is exclusively a male body part and a vulva is exclusively a female body part is inaccurate. By using the words parts to talk about genitals and using medical terms for anatomy without attaching a gender to it, we become much more able to effectively discuss safe sex in a way that's clear and inclusive. So, for purposes of this guide, we've chosen to include alternative words for readers to use for their genitals. For example, some trans men choose to use the words front hole or internal.
You got to the front hole story.
Yes, or internal genital instead of vagina. Alternatively, some trans women may say strapless or girl dick for penis. This usage is meant for one-on-one communication with trusted persons such as your doctor or partner, not for broad discussion. In this guide, whenever we use the medical term vagina, we will also include front hole as clinically recommended by researchers at the BMC Pregnancy and Childbirth Journal. So, well, a front hole does exist. If you're a fully transgendered person from male to female. I didn't know that's what they called it, but the freak out. And yeah, it's like, okay, yes, a front hole is different from a vagina. I got it. And they actually had to post a whole separate article. No, we're not renaming the vagina. Some people are under the impression that Healthline is now using the term front hole instead of vagina. This is simply not true. And I just got to play this Dana Lash clip. Now, she is you like her. She's the NRA spokeshole. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know her.
Yeah, you like her.
I generally do. I mean, she's a little bit, she has some, she's a little bit knee-jerk, but...
A little bit?
A little bit knee-jerk, right-wing knee-jerk, yeah.
Okay, so you've heard the story. Are you outraged?
No, I don't think it's much of it. I wouldn't have even done this story on this show, but I'm hardly outraged.
Well, I'm doing it just to show you how unhinged the right is becoming.
We got balance on this show, finally.
Here's the tipping point. I think that we are now in a state of full-on unhingedness across all dimensions.
Healthline says using the medical term vagina is not gender-inclusive language. Use, instead, front hole. The guide states, quote,
So just so you know, that's already not true, because that's not what it said. They said they would use both words.
Point,
okay, all right, I'll let it play.
Wait, before you go back to it, I was going to say, I always thought front hole would have been the mouth.
Imperative for safe sex guides to become more inclusive of LGBTQIA and non-binary people. It's a thing. It is an actual thing. Healthline says it. I don't even understand all the letters. The GDBTQ.
This, by the way, this is just lame. For her to do this, I don't understand all the letters. Yes, you do, you douche.
You guys, I can't even deal with this stuff. They say for the purpose of this guide, we will refer to the female copulatory organ as the front hole instead of using the medical term vagina, which is an actual medical term. And I need to just...
You mean move on to another subject?
No, I gotta, as a woman, I have to tell these people to STFU for a moment because this is ridiculous. No pun intended.
I agree.
Do they not understand female anatomy?
Here we go.
Do they not understand female anatomy? I'm sorry, but there's more than one. What is wrong with these people? I do not want some social justice warrior dude. How dare you tell me what to use in terms of, as a substitute for medical names for actual copulatory organs? Oh my gosh. There's more than one. What is wrong with you? If you did not take just a basic anatomy and physiology class, you don't get to. If you don't have one, you don't get to rename it. Oh my gosh!
I'm just trying to transition to another.
But no, it's not happening because this is the kind of stupid stuff that social justice warrior, particularly the dudes, do. The social justice warrior dudes. Because they're the ones who are freaking out about this. They're the ones who are like, well, you can't call it that because I don't have one. Yeah, I know you don't. It's not like you just switch it on the outside and suddenly everything magically appears inside. And if you think that women only have one, you need to understand how basic function of female anatomy. Find out what a urethra is. Find out these things. They're not the same thing. The birth canal is not that. They're completely, entirely different things, which shows us that you have no business telling us women what to call our stuff. Oh my heavens. This is where I can't deal anymore. This is where I have left planet Peace and I am out in the space. I am just done. They're like, oh, well, it's the same thing. No, it's not. It is totally different. What is the matter with you? Never go into medicine. People who think like this, don't ever do that. You will kill a woman.
From now on, I'm just going to call her front hole. I think that's just easier to remember.
I think you should get some. There's definitely one or two ISOs.
Oh, I have. Oh, of course I got the ISO.
What do you got?
What's the matter with you?
That's
a
my,
good one.
I like that one.
What is the matter with you?
I think that's the one.
Okay, well, that's not bad.
But all on false information.
You got one woman who went nuts.
No. This, John, the front hole thing, it was trending.
Trending.
Front hole's trending.
Well, it should.
It was on par with the animal crackers break out of their cages.
Oh, that was a good one, too.
I don't have a clip of it because AP, the Associated Press, did an article, like breaking news. The animals on the animal crackers will no longer be in cages because it's cruel. Yeah. PETA forced them.
It's cruel.
And it's news. It's news. What a setup. What a great piece of native advertising. What a great. Fantastic.
Yeah, because it would make everybody. By the way,
how could AP do this, John? That's not news. That's promotion.
It's old promotion. And when I first heard the story, I said, "Oh shit! I should go to the store and get a box of the old ones."
Did you?
They could clear inventory out almost instantly because they're all collector's items now.
No kidding.
Because in reality, if they made this change without announcing it, it would just be a package upgrade. Nobody cares. And it was, cartoons of animals in cages, and it was kind of a dubious cage.
Uh-huh.
And then, as somebody pointed out cynically on Twitter, they said, "Yeah, whatever they do, the kids are still going to bite the heads off the animals first thing they do." Which is kind
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Animal cracker. We have to rock against the crackers, man, because it teaches kids to harm animals, bite the heads off. See, now that's something I can get behind. I don't get behind the front hole. And it's sad because the animals have all moved to Philly.
Good evening. We're following a disturbing incident tonight in Clearfield County where Pennsylvania State Police served a search warrant after reports of animal abuse. Our Alexis Wainwright has been following this story. She joins us live tonight outside of the police barracks. Alexis, what are police saying?
According to officials, there's no pleasant way of saying this. They say that these men have been having sexual intercourse with animals. According to District Attorney Bill Shaw, this has been a part of an ongoing investigation into the abuse of animals.
This is an unpleasant topic, but the facts are that we received a report of folks having sexual intercourse with animals, farm animals, down in Munson.
Saturday morning, state police say they moved into action for safety concerns of animal abuse at a home in Munson. 3 men have been arrested: Terry Wallace, Matt Brunmaker, and Mark Miniskov, all in their 30s and early 40s.
They're going to be charged with sexual abuse of an animal, corruption of minors, recklessly endangering another person.
Police recovered several semi-automatic weapons at the home.
Of course.
The DA says there was also a minor, but they don't believe they were abused or involved. They say they are still investigating to be sure.
So look, I've been doing this for over.
What's that?
Then how's it corruption of a minor if no minors were involved?
It's beside the point, and I haven't in this report. So what's not in this is that there were. So I think they have over 1,000 counts of sex with animals. They had a barn with a special setup, so they could strap the animal to a gate, and they could stand behind the animals. And also, there was a goat. I'm reliably informed. But also not in this report, but it's in the written reports.
I'm reminded of the classic joke from the 30s that appeared in the Legman book, Rationale of the Dirty Joke. One farmer goes up to another and he says, "Hey, do you know what that fella Kinsey's been saying about us farmers?" And the other farmer says, "No, what?" He says us farmers go out and we're fucking goats and sheep and cows and dogs and snakes. And the other farmer says, "Snakes?"
Yeah. Yes. Wow. Okay. The reason it's over 1,000 counts is because they made video of every single time they did it. And
why?
Money.
What is wrong with these people?
Money. This is
Really?
Yes. This is a huge business. Huge. It is an international business. International sex with animals. Now, this leads me into an excellent article, actually an interview written in the Volkskrant in the Netherlands. It's very long, and I'm not going to read it, mainly because it's in Dutch. I did run it through the Google Translator, which I had to do 8 times because they have a cap on how many characters they'll translate at a time. And it's yes, yeah. I mean, this has got to be a 20,000 word interview. This is very, very long. So Google Translate. Anyway, you can't just throw a whole book in there, and Google will have an issue with that.
Well, why don't you, do you use? Wait. I just want to mention this.
Okay.
If it's a newspaper article and you go on Chrome and you read it on Chrome, you can hit the button. It'll translate on the fly the whole thing.
Yes, except it doesn't because they have the GDPR warning, and that's when you do the click it in Chrome. I did all that. It translates the warning, not the article. Yeah, JavaScript crap. Anyway, the reason why I transitioned into this is because this article was an interview with a Dutch guy who worked in Berlin at a Google facility. It was a contractor, but a facility whose entire job was to approve or disapprove of posts and videos for Facebook. And, the guy speaks on grounds of anonymity because, of course, he signed an NDA. He cannot talk about it. He did, and he felt it was really important because he says it's what's going on. First of all, it's all minimum wage. He was in Berlin. He didn't know he was being asked to do something for Google. They needed Dutch speakers. So the guy goes to the interview. They never mention Google. They do just some basic questions. Then he goes back, and then he's given a quote, and he has to say, is that hateful or not? He actually didn't have the right answer, but he said, no. Oh, okay, I understand. I did it wrong. Anyway, long story short, he's hired. And there's just a couple of Dutch people. It's like the Tower of Babel in this office. There's people from all over Europe, all speaking different languages, all viewing posts and videos. This is their AI. Okay?
Yeah, AI. I love it.
And it's the same thing that's coming to Austin. This is very important to understand because
AI.
Yes. AI. This is their artificial intelligence. They have people everywhere in little dark buildings at minimum wage trying to determine what is good and what is not. And he says, first of all, the Netherlands, they are so hateful. He says the hate, and it's very Dutch to say cancer. Everything is cancer. You're a cancer woman. You're a cancer child. You're a cancer job. Everything is cancer. And I know this because that is the Dutch very easily say, krijg de kanker. Kankerhoer. So everything with cancer is a very, very odd cultural thing. He says, but the worst is the videos. The child pornography, violent rapes of 11-year-old children. I'm not going to read exactly what he said, but he was very graphic in this. In Dutch, yeah, but again, the translation is there.
I'm saying these are Dutch videos?
These are Dutch videos. Yeah, the Dutch videos, sure. I think that the Netherlands is probably pedo bear central in the EU. Very disturbing. It says, and everyone at the Google contracted facility is drinking, is on drugs, with therapists, have post-traumatic stress disorder. They walk.
From watching the videos?
Yes, it's so disturbing. The guy says there's some videos I cannot get out of my head. And that's, like the child rape videos. So they have to sit through this every single day. And most of them can't stand it more than a couple weeks. He was there for 3 months, could not stand. He said, I was walking around like a zombie. And he would take a bottle of wine to work just to be able to get through the day. And here's my problem. Austin, Texas has been sold this bill of goods that we're going to become the next Silicon Valley, that we're going to be, the tech mecca.
Here we go.
When what is happening is Silicon Valley is sending, not only thanks to John C. Dvorak, all of their homeless people on buses to Austin, they're sending the reviewers of these horrible videos who become affected, have post-traumatic stress disorder, are on all kinds of psychotropic drugs, are on alcohol. They're walking around like zombies in our city on these damn scooters.
I think you should go to the city council meeting and bring this up with them.
Rather
than burden the show with your personal problems.
Come on, this is good for the show. What are you talking about? I am so obviously that's my personal problem in Austin, but this is what's going on. It's going to blow up. Someone is going to commit some kind of heinous act after sitting in these rooms for days on end.
It's like being tortured, yeah.
I mean, it is.
Well, it's like the scene in the Clockwork Orange where the guy's eyeballs are opened up and they make him see all these horrible things.
Oh. I mean, it's when you read this, everything you can imagine that's horrible.
That needs to be translated and put into an American vehicle newspaper.
Well, maybe that's something that you want to take a shot at. The translation's not too bad.
It's very, very interesting.
But this is going to get very bad very quickly. You can't.
Well, if what you say, yeah, especially internationally, not to mention locally with those jokers and wherever they were, bumfuck Iowa. Where was that? What state were these?
Two F words for you today. They were Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Dutch. There you go.
And I'm surprised that they didn't associate Trump somehow with that story.
It's a Dutch story. They're not always about the Volkskrant is, it's very well respected intellectual lefty newspaper.
No, I'm talking about not the newspaper story, but the original story about the bestiality.
Oh, the bestiality. Oh.
They had guns. They had Trump stickers and MAGA hats.
Yes, MAGA. Missed opportunity.
I know. It was a total missed opportunity. They probably were Hillary voters.
Anyway, so while I was going through this rant in my head, I realized something really bad. And I'm just going to go into OTG for a second. Just so everyone understands, being off the grid for me is just being a little more invisible to Silicon Valley. And I have now, with my new purchase, we can talk about it later, I have now lived since the last show without an iPhone at all. No smartphone whatsoever. Everything is transition. I'll get to that.
I thought this has been going on for over a month.
Yeah, but I was using the iPhone at home.
For what?
Oh, for just all kinds of things. Just sitting on the couch, because I don't want to have...
Okay, yeah. I will say again, I don't want to reiterate this, but I will, which is that I have discovered years ago, or recently, I don't know when I discovered it, where I could actually realize I discovered it, that if you sit around the table with a bunch of people and you want to use your phone to look something up, all you have to do is request it. You don't need a phone. You just say, hey, can somebody look up this? Can somebody look up that? Can somebody look up? And I've mocked these people for doing it, and they still do it. They will look up anything because one of them always has a phone, and they love looking stuff up for you. And I feel much more kingly.
Yeah, that's great. But we're not talking about you. You're not the typical consumer for today's world. This is for other people. And the mission I've been on is to be able to use as many services that I need as possible with a browser, with a protected browser, with as much turned off and shut down as possible, which is just not possible in the app ecosphere. That's why all smartphones are evil. But I'll get to that. I have a review of the Surface Go. If you're interested, we can do that later. The thing that I realized is with all of my OTG, and I realized this yesterday, we're on the boat with the former New York banker. I take my hearing aids off because we're going to get in the water. We're going to do some surfing. And so here we are. We're two dudes with our shirts off in a air nautique, whatever it is. And the music, I guess his wife was in the boat last, is like ABBA. Like, banker, change this. This is not good. We do not look very cool with ABBA, Mamma Mia blasting. With our shirts off.
I would have some judgments about this.
Right? Yes, we have to do something. So he's trying to connect his phone to the boat's system through Bluetooth, and he can't connect. He says, I see two Bluetooths that are just numbers and not a name. I said, oh, crap, those are my hearing aids. They're broadcasting MAC addresses 24/7. I literally have a target on my head.
Yeah.
All you have to do is go for in between the two Bluetooth transmitters.
Yeah, that's easy.
This is horrible.
A robot could do it.
This is horrible. I'm a walking tracker.
Huh.
This is very, very bad.
Yeah, this would be.
And there's no way to turn it off.
You OTG guy.
And there's no way to turn off the Bluetooth broadcast. And the drone could pick it up. Like, oh, there it is. And the MAC address, that's traceable.
Well, luckily, Bluetooth only really transmits about 30 feet max.
Yes. To a store nearby who picks it up, relays it off to the drone.
Whoosh.
You want to hear about the Surface Go?
We got him. Well, that's it? You never did make the connection? You couldn't change it? So it's you two guys with the shirts off listening to ABBA?
Well, no, we made the connection and quickly changed it to something else. Like, dude rock music.
Yeah, dude music.
Yeah. Anyway, I got the Surface Go.
Yeah, the Surface Go, which is the inexpensive Microsoft Surface, which is about $500. Looks like a pretty usable little machine.
I love this machine. And I didn't get the $399, which I think would be unusable, 4 megabytes of RAM. And,
not enough RAM.
Yeah.
You want to max it out.
Yeah, so it's the 128.
Can you pull? Here's the question. First question I have. I haven't looked at one of these. I was going to go look at one, never did. Can you pull out the 128 drive, which is really just a little thin card?
I don't know.
And put in a
I don't know
500.
You can put in a separate SD card, but I don't.
That's different.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that. All I know is this is the product Apple should have made. This device, it is fantastic. I went through all the guides online and locked down Windows 10 as much as I could. I'm not kidding myself, of course. And by the way, in the process of that, I'm new to Windows 10. I'm new to Windows. It's very interesting to see that they did this Windows 10, and maybe it was earlier with a different Windows version. They've got all these slick settings and control panels, but then sometimes, like, you click on something to open up a different control panel, and up pops like the NT control panel.
Right, it's control panel from the 60s.
Yeah, it's like all this old stuff hiding under there. It's very.
That's what you want.
Yeah, I know that, and I really appreciate it for what it is. The customization. I even customized the tiles on Windows 10. I never understood what they were for. It's like, oh, okay, and especially this thing goes into tablet mode in a very usable way. It only weighs about a pound. It's like a little over a pound.
That's what I kind of like about it.
Yeah, it's over a pound with the keyboard on. It is. The speakers, the sound is fantastic. Now, they advertise 8 hours. Yeah, no way. On battery life, I think you get, if you're really using it, if you're watching a movie, sure. If you're using it for 3, 4, 5 applications at a time, 4 hours max. But still,
that's still pretty good.
Still, and I mean, I'm in love. I have to say, this is a great, and this is me saying this, lifelong Mac guy. But once you really shut it all down and make sure all that Windows Hello and put a piece of tape over the front camera. Once you've done all that stuff and locked down everything, I know you can't. Please don't email me. I know. It's in the chip already. I know. But Silicon Valley is having a much harder time tracking me. I'm using all their services with Brave. I'm using the VPN. I want to install a Pi-hole on it in the Linux subsystem, which you can't do just yet for a number of technical reasons. This is the OTG device for people who want to be as invisible as possible for the tracking and tracing from commercial companies. It's a great device instead of a smartphone.
So one of the policies of the show is to use Bing over Google.
Yes.
So I was using my VPN to do, I just usually keep it on all the time. It's a very good way of keeping certain kinds of worms and viruses from bouncing around. And so I was using, I changed the location once in a while just to see what the speeds are. And so I go to Mexico. I'm coming out of Mexico. And so I Bing something, and then it comes in Spanish.
Yes.
So I'm not in Mexico. I don't want Spanish answers to everything.
Yeah.
So I use Google. Google's fine. They got some hidden cookies. Says, hey, this guy's not in Mexico. They're doing that. And so meanwhile, I go back and I go to my normal VPN settings, which is not in an English-speaking country, usually the United States, Canada, something like that. And every time I hit Bing, it still puts me in Mexico.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a cookie.
They got some cookies. Oh, the guy's in Mexico, and it leaves me in Mexico.
There's one thing you need to look out for. Sometimes I've had that, the google.co.mx. Sometimes your browser will autocomplete that after you visited it once.
Oh, that's another problem. I don't want to even discuss that idea.
It's another issue.
With a VPN, why are these guys? Here's the thing. You're using this is a pet peeve I haven't written about it, but I will. I'm using a VPN for a number of security reasons. I just think it's a better, safer way to go. And why does Amazon all of a sudden think I'm in the UK when I'm not? I'm not. Hello, Amazon? I'm not in the UK. It's presumptuous of you to think that I am when I'm specifically trying to type in Amazon.com. I'm not typing Amazon.com.uk.
Right. And
it's not being completed by the browser. When it goes to Amazon.com, it says, oh, he's coming in from the UK. Let's put him there.
Yeah.
And so it moves me. It's not the browser doing the autocomplete. It's Amazon moving me to the UK. I don't want to do business with the Amazon UK site.
Yeah, but you understand why it's happening, technically.
Yeah, they're making assumptions.
Yes.
When you make an assumption, you make an ass out of you and me.
Yes.
I'm not going on the internet for them to make assumptions.
Okay. I'm sorry. I will call Jeff.
Yeah.
I'm going to Bing it.
Yeah. You're going to Bing it? Good.
Go to bingit.io. This is our jam right here, John.
Bing it.
It's pretty damn useful. I've just gotten into the habit of just binging stuff.
Yeah, Bing it. Yeah. Bing it. Bing.
All right, just Bing it.
Now, to change this topic, this is, I think we got the OTG thing out of the way.
Oh, I was just going to do one more clip, not really OTG, but about the chips. Well, we can do that later.
What about the chips? Now I'm interested.
Oh, there's a company who I thought were doing it just purely for promotional reasons because they are a chip implant company. They're not. They implanted a whole bunch of employees with chips. Yeah, in their hand, so they, it's handy for
their hand, so you can go through the turnstile by using your hand instead of your card.
Here's the CEO.
You can't lose it. You know what's good about it, Adam? Is I don't have to worry about losing it.
Here's CNBC with the CEO of the company, and you're not far from the truth.
Last year, Wisconsin-based company 3 Square Market announced its plans to install rice-sized microchips in its employees. The implants can be used to scan into the office building, to purchase food at work, and to log into the computers there.
CEO Todd Westby is back with us to talk about how the program is going so far. So, Todd, what's it been like? How many of your employees at this point have chosen to have the chip implanted, and how many do you have to go?
Yes, to date, we have 196 employees, and 92 of them are chipped to this day.
And what's it been like in terms of their experience? Has anybody said, I want this thing out of me? Or
great.
When they leave, do they have to get it out?
We've had one employee that's left that had it removed. However, the vast majority of our employees absolutely love the conveniences that having this chip in their hand really brings to them.
I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, Todd, but why not a badge? Why do you have to implant a piece of equipment into people?
Listen to this guy's rationale. Why not a badge, John? Can you think of a reason why a chip in your hand would be better than a badge?
You lose your badge.
If it can be lost, it will be lost. And the very first day that I had this done, I actually had a late night interview, and I forgot my ID card. Whoa. And I thought, I got a chip in my hand. And when I showed up at work, I scanned my hand and I was let in the front door. So it's really a huge convenience factor that the employees seem to like with it.
You know, we all carry around our phones these days. We don't really lose those too often. Why not just have people use their phone for this kind of thing?
Because this is much more convenient. You can do a lot more really with this than you can your phone, as far as I can log into my computer with this, which I do every day. I can log into my phone with it. I can pay for items if I forgot my credit card or my phone. I can log into work.
Notice a theme here? It's all about forgetting.
People are happy to have this. Are they afraid you're tracking them beyond work?
No, we have had, some normal pushback, which comes with anything you do. However, what we've really done with this, I think, is you see a lot of discussion now about implants and how they can, take your heartbeat, get your blood glucose levels. You see Amazon just hiring a top-notch doctor. You see Walmart filing for patents on this. What we've really done is sort of made it acceptable, or brought it in the forefront where people are now talking about it.
And that's what they're going to do. That's how they bring it in, is through medical.
And looking at the benefits that it can do for a person.
10 seconds. How easy is it to get out?
Basically, you just puncture your hand with a needle, and you can push it right out the same hole.
Oh, great. Just push it right out the hole. The front hole.
I didn't know when I was answering the question, I actually had the guy's voice down.
So I think this guy is a shill. And it's very obvious. I have a little short follow-up clip. This is coming, and it's going to eventually be mandated by your insurance.
GPS inside the body has the potential to revolutionize medication delivery. MIT engineers have come up with a way to detect the exact location of global positioning devices anywhere in the body. The ingestible implants can be used as a replacement, say, for tube cameras for diagnostics. But scientists say using wireless technology to track the devices to the centimeter, they can detect heart rate, breathing, movement, and they say by directing the in-body GPS, they can attach drugs for delivery to specific places to treat diseases like cancer without impacting healthy tissue or organs.
GPS is a misnomer here. It has nothing to do with GPS. It's just, you just have a sensor. You can see where the chip is in the body. It's not GPS, morons.
Well, they obviously have to have it so it's got a little propeller on it so they can move it around too.
But that's how it's going to happen. It's like, oh yeah, because we can check your heart rate, and why wouldn't you? It's safe. It's good for your health. Come on. And by the way, your premiums go down.
Yeah, well, that would be the gimmick. The premiums going down.
We predicted it 8 years ago that this would be related to insurance for cars with GPS trackers. That's a fact.
And what could possibly go wrong?
No, nothing. I can't imagine.
Well, it reminds me of a clip I have about what could possibly go wrong with these great technologies that we employ. Now, I don't know how old this clip is. I found it in a compilation of crazy clips, but it probably was a couple of years ago when there was an Elmo toy that had been reprogrammed itself after a battery change. Henry, play this clip.
Everyone's going to be talking about this weekend. A mother changes on her son's talking Elmo doll and is stunned to hear what comes out of its mouth. You will be too. That's right. The Elmo doll is saying, "Kill James." That's the name of the boy who owns the Elmo Knows Your Name doll. You plug it into the computer so it will repeat the child's name. Well, the doll ran out of battery, so the mom replaced them. That's when it started making death threats.
Kill James.
It's not something that really you would think that would ever come out of a toy, but once I heard it, I was kind of distraught.
Even worse, James began repeating the phrase, so his mom had to hide the toy. Fisher-Price makes the doll and says it will issue a voucher to replace it. It is also examining Elmo to figure out what went wrong and looking at other toys to find out if they are bloodthirsty as well.
Thinking there's a dude named Ben somewhere laughing pretty hard.
You think?
I like this. This is why you can't. I mean, this is why why Professor Ted is right.
This exemplifies the problems you'll have with all these things.
Everything.
It's vandals,
mm-hmm.
dudes named Ben who are fed up, or they're just irked, or they think it's funny, or there's a million possibilities to do this sort of thing. This does not. The doll had the. It was programmed to say kill. I mean, that didn't dream it up itself. So it was killed whoever killed James, and it was done by some program or
after a battery reset. Seems like a perfect opportunity. Reboot.
Yeah, reboots to this new default.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so all this stuff is susceptible to this, including driverless cars. I might add.
Yes. Hey, and Facebag, just as a late breaking story, this was everywhere. They are within their analytics set. I guess their social graph dynamics. They are rating trustworthiness of every user on the system. Sound familiar?
Yeah. What I mean, it does sound familiar, but what are you referring to?
It's like a social score. If you can be trusted.
Oh, yeah, social. Exactly.
Like
yeah,
China.
China. China. Exactly. The China where you can't get a job. You can't get on the railroad train.
Yep. What's your social score on Facebook? You can either be a 0. I think the scale is from 0.
This will be the FISA of social.
It's from, FICA.
FICA. Why do I keep doing that? I know it's FICA, but I keep saying FISA.
Is it FICA or FICO?
I think it's FISA.
No, that's that's the FISA court. No, FISA court is something.
Oh, FISA court. Right.
No, we're talking about FICO. FICA is something with taxes. FICO is the
FICO score.
FICO score, exactly. This has the fact that
FICO score.
The fact that these guys are building a rating system on the trustworthiness of every user.
That's not what this thing's about. This is shameful that they're doing this. I'm not going on Facebook. I'm not getting an account on Facebook so I can communicate with my grandmother so we can both end up getting scored for trustworthiness. What's Grandma going to think when she sees it? Why, your trustworthiness is down, Bill. I don't know. Should I be talking to you anymore?
What you will notice in modern life, you won't, but what I've noticed in modern life is when you do not use certain things, such as I no longer use a smartphone, you're locked out of a lot of things. Now, I'm not sad that I can't use the bike or the scooter. I'm not sad about that.
But you wouldn't use them anyway.
Right, but I cannot use it. And I think you can predict if they hang around long enough, there will be a time when someone is asked, what's your Facebook score? Or Facebook may not make certain things available to you. That's probably how it'll start. Now, you have a low score. You cannot join this group. You watch.
I'm not. You're not to say you watch to me. This is obviously what's going to happen. But I think the law system will do some damage in the other direction. For example, I think those bikes that you need a smartphone for, I think you can sue over this. I'm being denied use of this public service because I don't use a phone.
Yes.
I would sue them. Somebody sue them.
Well, the Mendocino firefighters are suing. They're suing Verizon. This is a very odd story.
This is a very sick story.
Because they were using up to 25 gigabytes of data, and then the minute you hit that cap on your unlimited bandwidth, we know this is a lie, Verizon then slows you down to, like 0 almost. And so they're running into problems, and Verizon, they can't even change their system to just give it to them. No. No, they have to spend an extra $2 a month and get on this other plan. We'll grandfather this in. Do you have any friends and family? I mean, that's what they're doing. And I'm thinking all the while, net neutrality, anybody?
Yeah, like net neutrality is going to solve this problem.
No. My point would be, in net neutrality, these guys would get zero preference, no priority for them.
Oh, that's a good point.
No priority.
Point.
And now they want priority. They want priority over every other person.
Burning to the ground. We need priority. No.
But the stupid fire department is joining a net neutrality lawsuit.
They don't get it.
This is exactly the wrong thing to do. You're going to get legally the same as everybody else. You will have no preference, even though you're fighting a fire. A fire! No preference. Yeah. Same data.
I just do not understand the logic.
This is a great example, but they've gotten it all wrong.
There's only about 10 guys I know that understand this correctly. Everyone's been sold a bill of goods on this net neutrality thing.
Yeah, you know why? Trump.
Now, before we go off this topic, because you're talking about this Facebook rating, explain to me why Microsoft, I have a Microsoft story.
Oh.
Weird Microsoft story. Play this, and I want to just discuss it for a second.
Microsoft foiled the latest attempt.
Hey, all of your clips are skipping today at the beginning. Are you doing something different on your recording process?
I noticed this too. In fact, I have to edit them a little bit. I don't know what the deal is with this skipping thing.
Did you use a different program?
No.
Different computer? Not everything the same.
They're not all. No. Everything I'm doing is online, and for some reason, Audacity is not picking up. It's skipping at the beginning. I have no idea why.
All of them are skipping.
Microsoft foiled the latest attempt by Russian hackers to infiltrate U.S. politics ahead of November's midterm.
Say it again.
It started off saying Microsoft foiled.
Oh, foiled. Okay, got it.
Microsoft foiled the latest attempt by Russian hackers to infiltrate U.S. politics ahead of November's midterm elections. The tech giant announced today that it had removed fake versions of the websites of the U.S. Senate and 2 conservative think tanks, a so-called spear phishing campaign it said was mounted by the same Russian group responsible for meddling in the 2016 election. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov denied that Russia was behind the attack.
We do not know what hackers they are talking about. We do not know what is meant by influence on elections. We hear confirmations from America that there was no influence on elections. Who exactly are they talking about?
Microsoft's president said there were no signs the hackers were successful in obtaining users' credentials.
What is Microsoft doing taking down sites?
Yeah, I don't know. I caught the story, didn't really think much of it, but I did also.
What is Microsoft doing? How does Microsoft have the ability to take down sites?
I don't know.
And why are they doing it?
I don't know. The story.
And why these sites? And by the way, it was determined later it was the Chinese that did these sites.
Oh, not the Russians? What's up with that?
Well, they at first it went Russians, then it went the Chinese. We found it was the Chinese, and then they changed it. Well, Chinese with maybe some Russians. They can't get this Russian thing out of
this was part. Yeah, this was part of a whole bunch of stories, including the DNC. Like everyone freaking out. Oh, we were hacked. We were hacked again. We were hacked. We were hacked. And now they retracted the story.
Yeah, get time code for me.
They retracted the story and they said, "Oh no, we weren't hacked. It was a spear phishing campaign." Which, but of course, everyone jumped on this. Oh, we're hacked. Here's the odd thing, though. I was reading about this story on, I want to say it was abcnews.com, and it had a video. And the video that played above the story, it had a little bit to do, it was a promo for some outfit that is helping campaigns not get hacked. And I'll set this up because I cut out
campaigns are not getting hacked.
Well, so you wait until you hear this. It's showing a guy coming into clearly a campaign headquarters, and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" Bleep bleep. You hear computers going off. Oh my god! Because they were hacked and someone got some bad information about the campaign, and it's obvious that this guy did something unsafe, and everyone's freaking out. And like, our campaign is going down the tubes because of this hack. And here's the rest of the promo.
Look at this.
Oh, no. What's going on?
Every campaign is at risk of getting hacked.
Hey, we're getting a press call. What do we say?
And you might be the weakest link. If you don't want to put your candidate, your campaign, and yourself at risk, listen to Deborah Plunkett. She was the Director of Information Assurance at the NSA.
Take responsibility. Use an encrypted messaging service. The longer the password, the better. Beware of phishing attacks. Keep your devices secure. Our democracy is in your hands, so take good care of it.
In case you didn't memorize all of that, it's all here in the Cybersecurity Campaign Playbook. Check it out online.
Now, so that was apparently some woman from the NSA. Let me hear her advice again.
Assurance at the NSA.
She says M, by the way. Maybe it's not the NSA. Maybe it's the MSA, which is some other outfit. But she looks official.
Information Assurance at the NSA.
Take responsibility. Use an encrypted messaging service.
Use an encrypted messaging service, which Apple can then unlock on the iCloud. Okay, great. Thanks. Good tip. Next.
The longer the password, the better.
The longer the password, the better. I think there's some dudes named Ben who would like to disagree with that.
Beware of phishing attacks. Keep your devices secure.
Thanks for the tip.
Our democracy is in your hands.
So, okay, thanks.
What?
Yeah,
our democracy of America. Our democracy is in your hands because you left your phone on the table?
So I think this is a DNC or some kind of, everyone's worried about these local elections and stuff being uncovered. And this is intended, hey, cover everything up. Be secretive. No transparency.
Our democracy is in your hands. So take good care of it.
In case you...
Anyway, it's...
I think he said MSA.
That's what it sounded like to me, too.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. She's not from the NSA. They don't have a bunch of spokespeople that show up.
But they sure made it sound like it. Yeah. And when you see her, she's kind of a Loretta Lynch-looking type lady.
Yeah.
Like straight out of Central Casting.
Yes, that's a Central Casting spook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Well, let's just run the offbeat stuff. I got the one left. This one kind of a side story. I mean, I thought it would, if it wasn't for all this other Manafort and Cohen stuff, this would have been a bigger story. This is the story of the Miss America contest falling apart because the organization is being destroyed by Gretchen Carlson.
Yes.
And it's a very funny story, but the backstory is quite good.
Isn't she the former winner who now wants all women to wear a paper bag on their head? Was that her?
Yes, pretty much. That's her.
wear overalls, coveralls, and a paper bag for
so
the
she's
contest.
Apparently a horrible bully. She's just a troublemaker. She's no good. And she's the one, of course, brought down Roger Ailes and won all kinds of money from Fox. It's now dubious. I'm really questioning some of this stuff now after hearing this. And the only reason makes me suspicious is that this was an interview with a couple of women bitching about her and her partner running the Miss America operation on Kelly's show. And Kelly worked with Gretchen at Fox for a long time and seemed to welcome these two. So I have to assume, even though Kelly didn't chime in with something, because Kelly's not the one who would admit to have ever being bullied, I just found this fascinating.
Let me start with you, Suzette. I know that you say you read Kara's letter, you were shocked and appalled, but not surprised. Why not?
Not surprised because I've had some background on Gretchen. Gretchen has been bullying for a long time. Actually, she's bullied my sister here, Heather Whitestone. There were some incidents in the past that she's bullied. Our current office in Atlantic City, 5 people resigned in the office. The head of the foundation, which was a former Miss America, resigned. There were 2 Miss Americas on the board that resigned. There were 2 other state title holders that were fired suddenly. This person has taken no responsibility for the way she's treated our current Miss America. For Kara Munn to write a 5-page letter explaining for her through her year how she's been treated is appalling.
And as a mother, Gretchen is a mother. What would she do if her own daughter were being bullied like that?
Carr has come out and said that the new leadership has made clear to her there's only one Miss America, and it isn't me. Said that all the major press was reserved for Gretchen, that the social media of Miss America was used to promote Gretchen, that she had 3 talking points she was given. Miss America's relevant, Gretchen started the Me Too movement, and Gretchen went to Stanford.
Absolutely. She hasn't given her any chance to stand up and speak. She's actually paid $10,000 to help her with media training, which she didn't need. She's a Brown graduate. She's a business graduate.
The reigning Miss America.
The reigning Miss America. So she has no problem convincing an audience on what her platform is. She hasn't been given a chance to even speak.
When is the next competition? Is it before the midterms?
Yes.
There you go. There you go. It's just like the MTV Awards. It's all going to be virtue signaling. It's all going to be political.
Good.
for the show.
It's good for me.
It's great. It's great for the show. We love that.
That's what we want.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
We do have a few people to thank for show 1062. Starting with Sir Donald of the Fire Bottles, they're a Viscount of Eastern Washington, our buddy that's usually sends a note on Star.
Yes, Starfleet.
Yeah, well, no note this time.
That's too bad.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is his contribution, and he said no jingles, no nothing. Peter Turner in Footville, Wisconsin, 109. Eric, plain old Eric, in San Diego, California, $100.33. Ian Field, parts unknown, the UK, 100. Zachary Gilbrecht in Cordova, Tennessee, 100. He's got a title change coming up, and a happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Dude named Muhammad Ali.
Boob.
Yeah. He also wishes everybody a happy Eid Mubarak.
Mm-hmm.
He wants a goat karma at the end. We'll do that for him.
Goat karma coming.
Melchior van der Decken.
Melchior
van der Decken in Czechoslovakia. Czech Republic. There is no Czechoslovakia anymore.
Nope.
He says, gentlemen, living the life of a freelancer, I'm constantly on the verge of being broke, but I want you two to go on, giving us the best podcast in the universe. Cheers from the beautiful Czech Republic.
Thank you, Mel. That's very nice of you.
8008. Another boob from Sir Herb Lamb. He says, the last 2 shows were fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, and one third boob from Steve Purcell.
Boobs be hanging today.
In Stoughton, Wisconsin. And he needs some jobs karma for his daughter. We'll put that at the end with the goat karma.
Yep.
Luke Rayner, 77.77. Sir Brian Kaufman, 75.75 from Scottsdale, Arizona. Donald Napier, 66.6. Dame Carol Ann Chase of the East Hatchet Ranch. Pueblo, Colorado. Ranch, not branch. Ranch. 59.59 in Pueblo, and I do want to read her note. I turned 59 tomorrow. She actually wrote a note in. I'm going to read the note she wrote in instead of the one that's put there.
Okay.
You guys rock. Thank you for the best podcast in the universe. I have a monthly subscription, but wanted to send you this birthday donation. My 59th birthday, which I assume is on the list, is on August 23rd, so I was born in 1959. Thank you for all that you do to bring sanity to the universe. I believe it's possible that even extraterrestrials tire of the M5M and listen to your podcasts.
Fact. That's why it's the best podcast in the universe. Not the world, the universe. Of course, we know this.
And she finds Adam's OTG segments enlightening.
And there you go.
There you go. And she does want some karma for her daughter-in-law. She got cancer, needs some chemo, and we'll add that at the end.
Cancer. Yeah, of course.
Cancer.
Of course.
So we got a bunch of things there going on. Anyway. She gets her 59th birthday.
We'll put the quantum
on time. She was worried sick it wasn't going to get it.
We'll put the quantum mechanics at work once again.
Corey Cotton in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Double nickels on the dime. And he's got a call out here. Greetings from Gitmo Nation, Alligator. Loyal listener says double digits, hitting people in the mouth. Asking for a birthday shout out for myself. I think we got that.
Yeah, he's on the list.
And on August 22nd. And a douchebag call out for Mark in the Warehouse.
In Florida.
Douchebag. I know who you are. He says he loves the Alex Jones deconstruction as I death wobble between the potholes on my commute between Cleveland and Akron every day. John, I invite you to enjoy the potholes in the Cleveland area.
Pothole aficionado.
Yes, I'm now the expert.
Yeah.
And I should be. Michael Lopez in Flanders, New Jersey.
And that is the correct pronunciation.
It says Miguel, but
it is pronounced Michael. Yeah.
5510. Andrew Cantrell in Terrigal Beach, Australia.
Andrew needs some staying off the booze karma. Yeah, of course.
Okay. We'll put that. It's a combined karma, looks like, coming up. Anonymous 51.
And de-douching for Anonymous.
You've been de-douched.
This is interesting. He's got an interesting note here. I guess I should read it. In LA, we have a Popeye's chicken that is essentially a bank. You cannot come in contact with employees because there's a plexiglass wall with cubbies and doors. You open the door, put the money in, and they put out the chicken in after the transaction is completed, just like a bank.
Welcome to your future.
Not all banks are that way, by the way. The Mechanics Bank that I use is not that way at all. This is in reference to the Koreans being accused of racism for protecting their employees. Nonsense. The Popeyes is African-American owned and run. And it goes, she's a Latina millennial dudette named Ben in the defense industry. And we got some jobs karma.
Please give me an acting jobs karma so I can get my big break out from behind this desk. Thanks for cleaning my amygdala. New drinking game. Take a shot when Anastasia Cortez says the word like in an interview. I got ants and the guy screaming over seeing a train. XO. Yeah, we'll put some of that at the end. Thank you very much, Anonymous. That's interesting.
Alexander Diamond in Abbotsford, BC. He wants us to use the rain stick is in abeyance right now. We're not using it. Anyway,
too dangerous. Have you seen Hawaii about to get dumped on?
Somebody blamed us for that.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Sir Patrick Maycom in New York. They said it was we upset the balance in the universe.
Like a butterfly fluttering.
Yeah, the butterfly bull crap. Patrick Maycom in New York City. Sir Patrick. Alexander Delgado. These are $50 donors, name and location. Alexa Delgado in Aptos. Nice little town. 50. Matthew Wells.
Matthew is a first-time donation since he got hit in the mouth back in December 2016. De-douching in order.
You've been de-douched.
He's in Austin.
Wait a minute. He says he'd like to call out Phil Kuzmanovsky as a douchebag. He also lives in Austin.
Yeah. Meet up coming.
Good luck. Matthew Wells, Daryl Arnett in Norman, Oklahoma, Daniel LeBoy in Bath, Michigan, and that's it. Bing. Done.
Bing. Very nice. Did get a special night F cancer request from Trent Wabbis. Sorry, I haven't donated in a few weeks, but really need some help. If it's not too late, can I please have some health karma? I'm a 33-year-old, and I'm told I might need back surgery. Your F cancer karma worked, and I'm praying you can do it again, as the handful of pills a day isn't helping me even stand up properly. Forever grateful and can donate again when I get paid next month. No, don't worry about it, Trent. Of course we'll do that for you. We break for nights here on the No Agenda Show. And thank you for supporting the program, adding to our value network. You get out often more than you put in, and that's what a lot of people are recognizing. And we appreciate all of our donors, also those who came in under $50, some for reasons of anonymity, many on our layaway programs, our subscriptions. All of it is appreciated. And we'll do it again for you on Sunday.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
Fucking cancer. Fucking cancer.
You've got karma.
Your birthday, list for today, it is the 23rd of August, 2018. Corey Cotton celebrated yesterday. Carol Ann Chase turns 59 today. Ryan Hedem celebrates on March 12th. Peter Turner says happy birthday to his son Philip. He turns 10 today. Sir Zachary will be, let me see, says happy birthday, I think, to Michael Lopez. No, Sir Zachary's birthday is on the 25th. Michael Lopez is celebrating today. And Marvin Britton, also known as Sir Stabbard Iron Band, says happy birthday to his dame, and we say the same from all of your buddies here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah. Title changes, turn and face the slaves. Title changes. Don't want to be a douchebag.
One title change today. Sir Zachary becomes the Baron of Bluff City, and we congratulate him with that as he reached yet another milestone in our peerage. You can find that at itm.im/peerage or dvorak.org/peerage.htm in the proper way it should. And thank you all again very much from your hosts. Your hosts.
We did promise goat karma, and you just gave regular karma. I thought it was like...
You've got karma.
Thanks for keeping me on my game. Yes, I got a note from the same person who told us about it initially. Apparently, the 6-week cycle at the FBI is being reinstated. They're starting it back up again.
Oh, good for them.
So, for those who don't know, we were told this a while back, years ago. FBI has a 6-week cycle. They need to entrap some kind of schmuck.
Usually a dummy.
A dummy on the spectrum. And
they probably should be in jail because he's so stupid.
Yeah, arrest them on terrorism charges after they give them everything they need and just honeypot them. And that's how they keep their budgets and keep the FBI, who looks pretty bad right now. FBI not looking so good. So that would make sense that they start up the 6-week cycle again. So I guess we'll wait for one and then we'll count the weeks. So there should be something coming soon. You heard it here first. A lot of people emailed us about the clearances issue. A lot of people, I told you, a lot of our producers have clearance. Typically,
probably half of them.
Typically, after you leave a said job where you have clearance, you no longer have clearance. It's taken away. That's for the schmucks. If you're the elite, you get to keep it. And holy cow, there's a lot of, that's this great article. Comey, let's see, just to give you an idea. Mueller, after he left as FBI director, was senior vice president of Lockheed Martin and general counsel. He was the top lawyer at the largest contractor in the U.S. Comey made $6.1 million outside of his government jobs. These guys are doing just fine. And I think they have enough, actually, so they shouldn't worry about it. But it's definitely a money issue for these people. And I don't see why they should get the clearance. I know. Everyone understands this story. I think we all get it.
They should get their clearances taken away. If the regular guy gets his taken away when he just quits his job, they should just, you're not working there anymore. What do you need a clearance for?
I agree.
What are these guys that are just talking heads on CNBC, or not CNBC, MSNBC or CNN? What do they need clearances for?
Yeah. I actually have a cool old Brennan clip as a flashback. No, I have two. I have a Mueller clip and I have a Brennan clip.
Oh.
Old flashbacks. Which one do you want to hear first?
We'll
do Mueller first.
The one that's not as funny.
Okay, here's Mueller.
Director Tenet has pointed out Secretary Powell presented evidence last week that Baghdad has failed to disarm its weapons of mass destruction, willfully attempting to evade and deceive the international community. Our particular concern is that Saddam Hussein may supply terrorists with biological, chemical, or radiological material.
Remember how sure he was, and we knew it. Oh, it's for certain.
Oh, yeah.
Certain. You can't be wrong.
He's a neocon.
And here is Brennan. Now, this one, I had never heard this. This is at the Council on Foreign Relations, where you want to launch these ideas. Here we go.
Another example is the array of technologies, often referred to collectively as geoengineering, that potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI, a method of seeding the stratosphere with particles that can help reflect the sun's heat in much the same way that volcanic eruptions do. An SAI program could limit global temperature increases, reducing some risks associated with higher temperatures and providing the world economy additional time to transition from fossil fuels. This process is also relatively inexpensive. The National Research Council estimates that a fully deployed SAI program would cost about $10 billion yearly. As promising as it may be, moving forward on SAI would also raise a number of challenges for our government and for the international community. On the technical side, greenhouse gas emission reductions would still have to accompany SAI to address other climate change effects, such as ocean acidification, because SAI alone would not remove greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. On the geopolitical side, the technology's potential to alter weather patterns and benefit certain regions of the world at the expense of other regions could trigger sharp opposition by some nations. Others might seize on SAI's benefits and back away from their commitment to carbon dioxide reductions. And as with other breakthrough technologies, global norms and standards are lacking to guide the deployment and implementation of SAI and other geoengineering initiatives.
This is not a breakthrough technology.
No, it's not.
It's a way to kill the planet. Let's put a bunch of crap in the air and you make it code everything so we all die.
But why? Okay, but the important part of the clip is not so much the SAI for geoengineering for to save the world from global warming. No, it's the weather modification. This is the CIA director. What is he talking about? Global warming? He's not. He's talking about making it rain, baby. He's got his own rain stick up there. And he said it. He admits it. We got this. People don't like it.
Well, this is disgusting. That's a disgusting clip.
You're welcome. Now, I do have, since we talked about it on the last show, I just wanted to play it, the full Brennan walkback on treasonous. And the reason I think it's important.
Oh, yeah, we talked about we need to have a clip.
Yeah, I got the clip. Brennan is in trouble.
That's what Ray McGovern says.
Yeah, he's in trouble. Everybody is excoriating him for saying treason. Even Clapper. Yes. So the guy is in trouble, and he sounds like he's in trouble. He is the way he sounds in this 2-minute clip when he's walking this back. This guy got spanked by someone. Something went down, and he's like, "Oh, holy crap! I got to change this because the big mouth ain't so big anymore."
You were stark and even a little bit scary in your criticism of his behavior. You said it rose to treason.
See, I think the M5M, they really believed that he was all over. Yeah, treason. Yeah. It's Brennan said it. Brennan is treason. He's treasons. Brennan said it. He's going to go to jail.
There was nothing short of treasonous.
In this current controversy, that specific comment has been singled out by a number of people as a comment that maybe by you crossed the line. That was maybe
crossed what line?
Well, was it
freedom of speech?
No, I'm not saying that you don't have a right to say it. But do you stand by that consideration? And can you explain? Can you elaborate what you mean by treasonous? It's a very serious allegation.
I know what the Russians did in interfering in the election. I have, I'm at 100% confidence in what they did.
Confident.
And for Mr. Trump to stand on that stage in Helsinki with all the world's eyes upon him and to basically said he doesn't understand why would the Russians interfere in the election. He's given Mr. Putin and the Russians a pass time after time after time. And he keeps referring to this whole investigation as a witch hunt, as, bogus, as, and to me, this was an attack against the foundational principle of our great republic, which is the right of all Americans to choose their elected leaders. And for Mr. Trump to so cavalierly just dismiss that. Yes, sometimes my Irish comes out, and in my tweets, and I did say that it rises to and exceeds the level of high crimes and misdemeanors, and is nothing short of treasonous. Because he had the opportunity there to be able to say to the world that this is something that happened. It should never, ever happen again. And if Russia tries at all to do it, they're going to pay serious price for it. I don't expect Mr. Putin to acknowledge it. He's going to deny. But for the President of the United States to continue to prevaricate on this issue, I think does a great injustice and a disservice to the men and women of the intelligence law enforcement community, and does a great disservice to the citizens of the United States. And that's why I said it was nothing short of treasonous. I didn't mean that he committed treason, but it was a term that I used, nothing short of treasonous.
What happened, Brenny boy?
Bullshit.
He got in trouble.
Yeah, well, he's in trouble. There's something up with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get back to the Cohen thing because I do have some things about I had Laney Davis, another one. I forgot to put this in the earlier part of the show, but it's so funny because it makes no sense. I think my theme here was that none of this made any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And this is apparently Cohen would not accept a pardon.
Blow from two confidants turned criminals. President Trump tonight is defending what he knew and when about the payments his former lawyer made, meant to keep two women quiet about alleged affairs.
Did you know about the payments?
Later on, I knew. Later on. And they weren't taken out of campaign finance. That's a big thing. That's a much bigger thing. Did they come out of the campaign? They didn't come out of the campaign. They came from me.
Solicitation is a crime of directing someone else to commit a crime. That's true even if the person doesn't follow through with the act. So here, if they can find additional evidence to support what Michael Cohen says, I think you could very well have a criminal violation against President Trump.
Michael Cohen says he broke the law at the direction of his then boss. But the press secretary said the president's not in trouble.
He did nothing wrong. There are no charges against him.
The press secretary pushing back.
He did nothing wrong. There are no charges against him. He did nothing wrong. There are no charges against him.
As for Cohen, his attorney says he's ready to share whatever he knows with whoever.
That was odd. Was that their edit?
Yes, you'd think it was mine, wouldn't you? That was their edit.
Charges against.
Let me just go back. That was interesting. Did she say it twice or did they put it in twice?
I think she said it 3 times and they decided to put it, wrap it on top of each, to put it together in a repetitious way to make her look like an idiot.
The law at the direction of his then boss. But the press secretary said the president's not in trouble.
He did nothing wrong. There are no charges against him.
The press secretary pushing back.
He did nothing wrong. There are no charges against him. He did nothing wrong. There are no charges against him.
This is borderline dishonest reporting.
Oh, wait until you hear the next clip.
Let me finish this one.
As for Cohen, his attorney says he's ready to share whatever he knows with whoever wants to know it.
Is he hoping for a pardon from President Trump?
Not only is he not hoping for, he would not accept a pardon. He considers a pardon from somebody who has acted so corruptly as president to be something he would never accept.
No. Okay.
Now, that's just stupid, and it doesn't make any sense, but okay, we want to go with that. But then I got, talking about dishonest reporting, now this is Hallie Jackson on NBC, and I want to point out something in this next clip, which is, to me, extremely dishonest reporting. Part 2.
Oh, okay.
But the White House is not ruling out a pardon for Paul Manafort, now convicted of tax and bank fraud.
Okay, stop
the president
right there. The White House is not ruling out a pardon for Paul Manafort.
Mm-hmm.
When did this come up in the conversation? Was the White House ever asked about a pardon for Paul Manafort? They probably were. I think they were. And nobody said anything. It's not as though, it's... You can't say
they're mind reading. They're mind reading.
They're not ruling out is bull crap. You don't know that they're not ruling it out because the question's never been asked. She didn't ask it, and they didn't say, well, we're not ruling it out. They did not say we're not ruling it out.
Is this what we call fake news?
I think it's fake news, and this is NBC.
But the White House is not ruling out a pardon for Paul Manafort, now convicted of tax and bank fraud. The president, seeming sympathetic, praised his former campaign chair. Unlike Cohen, he tweeted, Manafort refused to make up stories in order to get a deal. Such respect for a brave man. The developments exposing a series of contradictions in a scandal that surfaced in January when the Wall Street Journal reported on the payment to porn star Stormy Daniels just 11 days before the election. A month later, Cohen acknowledged he used his own money, saying neither the Trump campaign nor the Trump organization was involved.
Yeah, that's really bad.
It's really bad.
It's the mighty NBC, everybody.
NBC does some of the worst anti-Trump artificial constructions.
But, you know,
the White House says they're not ruling. They're not saying anything.
It's going to boomerang back on them eventually. This is the way the universe works. You can't keep doing this. People get hip to it.
Well,
it's a mistake.
Well, we get hip to it because we hear it all the time.
We're
looking for it.
Well, we're just hip.
We're hip, man.
Yeah, man. You done with Manafort?
Well, that's Cohen again. I do have a Manafort clip.
New rule. No Manafort and Cohen clips anymore. I'm done.
I got one more, which I'll move off to the next. I might leave it in the lineup in case the conversation goes in a certain direction.
And now it's time for your sexual harassment update.
Yes, there's a new twist. It's a crazy one.
Overnight, shocking new allegations against one of the Me Too movement's most prominent voices. The New York Times reporting Italian actress and director Asia Argento, the former girlfriend of Anthony Bourdain, arranged to pay $380,000 to Jimmy Bennett after the actor claimed he was sexually assaulted in a California hotel room in 2013 when he was just 17. The payment arrangement allegedly made not long after Argento herself publicly accused Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein of rape and sexual assault. The new claim, detailed in documents sent to the Times through encrypted email, says Argento was both a mentor and a mother figure to Bennett, and the two were intermittently in contact as he grew up. Bennett, now 22, began acting at age 6. He was cast at age 7 to play Argento's son in the 2004 film The Heart is Deceitful Above All Things.
You will not trash this house!
The documents, characterized by the Times as a legal agreement between lawyers, describe Bennett's version of the encounter. They have not been seen or verified independently by NBC News. On May 9, 2013, Bennett says he arrived at the hotel with a family member for a reunion with Argento. After asking the family member to leave so she could be alone with the actor, Bennett says Argento gave him alcohol and a series of notes she had written to him on hotel stationery. The documents say Argento then kissed Bennett, removing his pants and performing oral sex before having sex with him. Later that day, she posted to Instagram, "Happiest day of my life, reunion with Jimmy Bennett." The two had lunch, but later, Bennett began feeling, quote, extremely confused, mortified, and disgusted. According to the New York Times, in an April letter addressed to Argento confirming the final deal, the payment is characterized as, quote, helping Mr. Bennett. Argento became a leading voice in the Me Too movement after telling The New Yorker that Weinstein raped her in 1997 when she was 21. Weinstein faces multiple charges of sexual assault and rape, none including Argento, but he denies all allegations of non-consensual sex.
Never has the Dutch phrase fit any better on this one. Wat je zegt ben je zelf met je kop door de helft.
You are what I say.
I am what I say you are. Exactly.
Classic.
Can you imagine being 17 and that happening to you?
Well, I think most guys, there's a lot of jokes going on around about this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to enter into that.
No.
I could, but I'm not going to. But
this was kind of I think this was a little weird, like, especially it was like a mom-son type thing, an Oedipus complex.
Probably be a little weirder than your girlfilm or something.
That could make a 17-year-old go a little wacky.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
But this just seemed to me that they knew about this. This happened 5 years ago, so somebody knew.
How about Weinstein?
Because Hollywood talks.
Well,
it's like a farming community. It's like the tech community.
Weinstein has friends.
Weinstein has friends. He got wind of this.
Yep.
And he's got associates that are still, a bunch of creeps in Hollywood. This is Hollywood. What do you expect? And somebody got wind of this, and then they blew the lid off of it, got a hold of the kid or something. They did something to get this to come out, to embarrass this woman.
Here's what I want. Where are the psychologists? Where are people talking about this type of sexual harassment? I think this is important. It should be discussed. Because exactly if you don't, then you get the jokes. Yeah, I'd let her blow me.
Yeah, exactly.
This is
avoided.
It's disappointing. It's really disappointing. There's no analysis. There's this story. Shut up about it because Trump.
I am of the opinion that Weinstein's getting off on this. Not getting off in the sexual way.
Oh, yeah.
He's getting off.
Well, the star
charges.
witness has been discredited.
Yeah, one of them.
An important one, I'll say.
And this concludes your sexual harassment update.
Excuse me, Adam, but the rioting mob of angry dog owners and their dogs, they've just set fire to the building.
That means it's time to go. But if you have another clip, we can do it.
Yeah, I would have run a clip. Well, we got the wine, still got the wine replication story. We'll push that off. I want to play. This is a very short clip of a Koch brother frontman comes on one of these shows, and he discusses the what you should do, what you shouldn't do in the upcoming campaign if you're a Republican or a Democrat, and he drops this little bomb in there about Steve Bannon, what Bannon's approach should be, because I've noticed there's a change in the philosophy about the impeach Trump movement. They kind of backed off a little bit on it because I think Bannon is right. But play this Koch brothers, this guy.
Backed by the Koch brothers. Joins me now, Tim. Welcome.
Good to see you again.
So let me start by asking you about something that former White House advisor Steve Bannon said, that Republicans should make their midterm strategy about preventing impeachment. Do you agree with that?
No, I think that they're better off focusing on the issues, this economy, how well it's doing. They've done some good things there. And then what they're going to try to do for the American people moving forward. I don't think it makes much sense to go into scaremongering on personal things like that.
I think just the opposite. I think Bannon's right. The Democrats are backing off on this as fast as they can. I've noticed this.
They should.
Because the idea is, they should, and they are. The idea is that you want to bring the impeachment thing up so it's in the back of people's minds and you want to get them to vote Democrat. That was the whole idea. And then when the Democrats take over the House, we've outlined this a million times. We're going to put it in an essay. And then when the Democrats take over the House, they're going to start talking about impeachment again. And they're going to get nowhere because they don't want to get anywhere. Because they can use it as leverage to run against him in 2020. Well, we can't impeach him, but we can vote him out. So it's just a political strategy. So Bannon is right, is to take and leverage the Democrat strategy about impeaching the president against him to get the vote out, to save the president. And this guy's an idiot.
How come we're still doing podcasts and we're not consultants for every campaign? I mean, seriously, we're wasting our time.
We are. But as long as they pay us. As long as the public approves, we'll keep doing it because we're obliged.
And when you tell us that we changed your life, it makes it all worthwhile.
And yes. Donate. Yes, donate.
I get value. Do you? If you got value, consider supporting us. Dvorak.org/NA. And I believe I'll have some road stories to talk about. Going to be in Chicago for a couple days, back at home base for the Sunday show. But for today, I'm coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region 6, and all the governmental maps in the 5x9 Cludio in the common law condo. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm going to ask Adam if he's going to leave the iPhone at home during this next trip.
Yes.
John C. Dvorak.
Yes, I am, and I'm very apprehensive, but I'm going to do it. Report on Sunday. Yes, we'll see. Until then, adios, mofos.
Dum, 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 honey, what have you done? Dum, 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 it's the sound of my gun. Dum, dum,
just stuff I've been up to his little castle. And he calls me up and I said, Donald, you can't use Dream On. That's for causes, not campaigns. And he did anyway. And I had to sue him. I got Dina to sue him. Send him a letter of cease and desist. So I've been through that shit.
Donald's got my song. Donald's got my
my song. My world has come undone. It makes me feel so wrong. What can a musician do? It makes me come unglued. They say that Clinton get elected and Donald walk away in shame. But now that he's the president and he's got my song, I'm left with an exploding brain.
If you look at President Obama, he had a massive campaign, much bigger thing.
Had incredible successes.
5 convicted felons are now linked
To the President of the United States.
But it's not even a campaign. Did they come out of the campaign? They didn't come out of the campaign. They came from me.
The President has employed thousands of people in his lifetime.
Tweeted about it. I don't know if you know, but I tweeted. But they didn't come out of a campaign. In fact, my first question when I heard about it was, did they come out of the campaign? Because that could be a little dicey. And they didn't come out of the campaign, and that's big.
So I think he's doing quite well.
He broke the law.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
He broke the law.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
He broke the law.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
He broke the law.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
He broke the law.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
He broke the law.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
He broke the law.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
He broke the law.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
We're hoping that he will get some help from the American people so we can continue to tell the truth.
Hey guys, before we jump into our next story, I wanted to share how you can start protecting yourself on the web for 77% off.
Okay. By the way, I overstated it. It's 20,000. It's not 70,000, but you know.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
He broke the law.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
He broke the law.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
He broke the law.
All the stuff. All the stuff.
He's getting lunch at Chick-fil-A. The tortillas in the race. Kim Kardashian, Sigourney Weaver, Rush, R-E-S-P-I-C-T. They're all jitty, R-E-S-P-I-C-T. There's no real conflict. Resist. We must. Resist. We must. We must. And we will much about that be committed.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA